Gentlemen, the time has come once again to discuss things.
Hello, I am Matthew Maxwell Myers of Maxwell's Magic Reviews, and I am here on Geeky Gentlemen to talk about magic. And with us today is...
Sid Part 2?
And Milan Jefting 1992.
Okay, awkward beginning because we didn't decide that we were going to say our own names.
Yeah. Anyway, so Mr. Maxwell, you are a magician and a reviewer of magic tricks, so I understand. And we're discussing magic, which is funny enough the exact topic you are, most familiar with.
Yeah, it happened completely by accident.
No, completely.
It's such a strange coincidence, isn't it?
It's the fate of the stars.
Yeah.
So anyway, how should we begin?
Well, we're not going to talk about just magic. This is Magic Part 2 for Geeky Gentlemen. The last time we did this, we talked about, not only magic, but we also discussed the film The Prestige. Great film, by the way. And
yes,
since
it is.
Milan, unfortunately, hasn't seen the movie that we were supposed to do today, we're also going to talk about Houdini, but very briefly, since Maxwell and I are the only ones who have seen it. Houdini was a film that came out in 1953 that was a very, very loose biopic.
Oh, yes, very, very loose.
So
How so?
It's a character named Houdini who happens to be a magician, and he does some of the things Houdini did, but they completely, they get the history surprisingly wrong. It's almost impressive that they didn't just make a new character name up. The reason they didn't do that is because it wouldn't have sold at all if they did that.
Well, here's the thing. When I saw it, the first time I saw it, I didn't know that much about Houdini, and this was, maybe 3 years ago I saw it. And just seeing it again last night, yeah, here's the thing. The film is based on a book, and if you ask people how did Houdini die, they're going to say in the water torture cell escape. And that's because of the book and this film. That's complete bunk.
Yeah. Not just that, it gets a lot of other things very wrong with the whole, mystery of trying to find the guy that dematerialized.
Yeah.
That was funky, and then I didn't like the thing they put in about his mother calling. Alright, there's this one point in the movie in which he dives into the Detroit River as the top is frozen over, okay? Mm-hmm. And he doesn't count on the current of the river, so it takes him far away from the hole that they cut into the ice. Not something Houdini would do, I believe. I don't believe that part's based on fact at all. But anyway,
the escape itself being thrown into the river and escaping is, but
yeah, the whole, I'm just saying, no magician of any value, especially not Houdini, would not count.
No sane person, let alone a sane magician, would do that.
Yeah, well, the thing that bugged me is he claims he gets out of the river, or he finds the hole in the ice by hearing his mother's voice and swimming toward it. Something he never, ever would have said.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Houdini was very against the whole spiritual, what is it? The
spiritualism.
The whole, I can talk to the dead, crystal ball, mumbo jumbo.
Seances, that's the word I was thinking of. Yeah, he was very against that. He spent a lot of time disproving them. Something in the movie, I almost thought the movie was going to do the exact opposite of for a little bit. So, I mean, if that was misdirection, then...
Actually, later on in this, I want to talk about why we should never use the word misdirection. Just log that in the back of your mind for something that we should go off on a tangent with.
Okay, yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's just, that's the
Yeah.
word that's usually brought up. But it's just,
Yeah.
like, the movie goes on for, I think, what, 5-10 minutes, about how Houdini is looking for a seance leader that can contact his mother.
Mhm.
What?
And he's been spending 2 years doing it. And then you see a seance held, and, like, it looks like he totally bought everything that happened, and then he, disproves everything that just happened in the room. Which,
Yeah.
okay, good, but if you're gonna spend that much time on your movie, you better make sure that Houdini doesn't come off like he's believing this.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Well,
there-
here's the thing. Once his mother did pass away, because from what I've heard, he was a big mama's boy, I wouldn't be too surprised if near the beginning of that, after
Well-
like the first couple of months, he was believing in it, just
Yeah, well,
trying
that's
to
the
get
thing,
back in
that's-
contact, but yeah.
That's the thing, is he really hated those people,
Yeah.
and I would totally believe it because he hated them because they were giving people false hope.
Right.
I would believe it at the beginning of the thing,
Yeah.
but this was set 2 years after her death.
Right. Yeah.
That's problematic, just overall.
Yeah,
Well-
it's really kind of. I haven't seen the film but I know a little bit about Houdini because what really got me into Houdini was H.P. Lovecraft actually once ghost wrote a story with Houdini featuring in it, and the most Lovecraftian setting and the most the greatest escapist who ever lived in one story, hooray! And so I thought, you know what, I want to research Houdini a little bit. I've picked up a few things of podcasts, and yeah, I really kind of admire that about the man, that he hated, these fucking fortune tellers that give people false hope so much. And now that I'm happy that I didn't see this film, because from what you're talking about, it seems like they're trying to do the whole, oh, Houdini wasn't an atheist, he believed in the afterlife, that kind of a thing.
Well, here's the thing. For me, it didn't go on too long. It's really just a short, 5-10 minutes of the film where that
yeah,
happens.
but just the way they sell it as the conceit in it is that he seems to legitimately believe this.
Yeah.
And I mean, I suppose he would put up that act, but the thing is, we get a scene where he says his mother's voice led him out of certain death.
Yeah. Well,
Which-
here's the thing. In my opinion, I would call that a coincidence. I don't think they're trying to say that it actually is real, if that makes sense.
Well, I'm not saying real. I'm saying it would seem to give the hint that because of that incident, he began to believe in spiritualism, and then only started to debunk it because he hadn't found anyone that was honest.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
If I may, my main complaint with the film. Oh, sorry if you hear any chirping.
Oh no, it's fine.
My main complaint is that the film seems a bit kind of sappy, and honestly, this here is one of the films where that doesn't bug me too much.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I have fun while I watch this.
I enjoyed parts of it. The escapes were fairly well done. I mean, it really could have been a lot, just speaking from a cinematography point, it could have been shot a lot tighter, because there are a couple things like when he levitates his wife on the broom.
Suspension, technically.
Yeah, whatever. Just
Hey, I'm a
being
magic expert.
vocabulary.
okay?
That's Ian, don't worry, just expect him to be just ridiculously rude outright, and
No,
not
just like when he suspends his wife from the broom, you see one of the guys that's holding the broom, and you see he tries to cover it up with the broomstick, but he totally misses that there's a hole in the table, and I was just like, well, I wonder how this is being achieved. So it doesn't work
Well,
out that well,
Here's
and there
the
are a
thing,
couple things
you
like
do
that.
need the hole so that she doesn't fall over.
No, and I get that, but what I'm saying is, for a film, when you can reshoot things, you should. And for a film with a budget, you definitely should. And if I, as a just audience member who wasn't looking at this from a cinematography point of view or from a magician's point of view, if I can see the hole clearly in the thing, you either need to reposition your pull away shot or you need to do the take again and make sure the guy covers up the hole better. There were a lot of things like that where it just wasn't shot tight enough. And I guess I respect that they were actually doing the illusions as opposed to doing, filmmaking tricks.
Well, technically, quite a bit of the stuff was done with the camera, just doing, for example, when he's in the straitjacket, that first time where he snakes his hand down,
yeah,
that was a camera trick. That was a
I could tell.
cut, so.
And when he sawed his wife in half, that was a camera trick too. I could see the frame skip. But not just like a lot of the stuff they did, like the a couple of the suspensions, levitations, whatever, were clearly done with the actual technique as opposed to filmmaking stuff.
Yeah.
Which I liked. There were a couple things like that worked well as filmmaking techniques, or I mean magic techniques as opposed to using the film.
Yeah.
That being said, this movie, first of all, am I the only one, or did that dude look like shockingly like Michael Keaton?
Which one?
The guy that played Houdini.
Oh, Tony Curtis?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
No, it kept bugging me. I kept expecting him to, sing the Beetlejuice song or to, suddenly put on some glasses and become Batman.
Actually, how badass would that be? Houdini is
Batman?
actually Batman.
That makes so much sense. It's scary.
Oh,
He's 50s Batman. He's the Bob Kane 50s Batman.
I'm gonna write this down real quick just so I can put a picture of him up online. I can't spell Keaton. Ton. It's some of the stuff like it just kept distracting me. I'm like, this dude looks exactly like Michael Keaton. I wonder if he's his dad. Sorry.
That would be a strange coinkydink, eh?
Wouldn't it? No, there was a couple things like that. I liked the movie. I thought it was really, I thought it was sweet, and here you go, Milan, you get to hear me say nice, cute words. I thought it was sweet the way they had him meet his wife.
Ooh.
I thought that was cute. It was a little mushy, but it was good mush.
Yeah.
It was not the bad quality mush. It was the good quality mush.
This wasn't no dungeon mush. This was, some like prep school mush.
This is some upper class mush, man. This is some good shit.
Well, here's the thing about the mush, as you call it. Because it's from 1953, I'm more willing to forgive it for being mushy. Whereas if it was done the same way today, I would just hate it. I think it's just because of the time period when it was.
Fair enough. I just thought that the way that they got them together as, the whole Houdini being the wild man and then being the magician in the same day, that was kind of cool. And then her continuing to go find him but run away. I thought it was clever. I thought it was cute. I have no idea if that's how it actually happened.
Let me ask you this here. When they went and the old man part of it, the third time she meets Houdini, did you think that old man, spoilers for a movie from 1953, did you actually suspect that the old man was Houdini? Because the first time I saw it, I didn't expect it at all.
Let me put it this way. Once the guy came out and was talking about the Fountain of Youth, I said, yes, that's Houdini right there. That was looking at the lady. At first, I thought it was just a really funny gag.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this. Do you know, was that Tony Curtis under a bunch of old man makeup or what?
I think it was. Here's the thing. I am not a film guy.
Yeah.
I do magic reviews and
No,
honestly,
I couldn't tell personally, and this didn't have any end credits, or at least the version I watched didn't.
Yeah.
So that was a problem. That being said, something I was talking about at the beginning of the call, the opening credits on this are shot like you're reading a poster outside of a theater, but it just keeps going on and on in this like downward pan. So it's like the tallest poster ever made.
In the 50s, everything was tall.
Yes. Milan's just like, I need to talk right now because I
Yeah.
haven't talked in a bit. And
Yeah.
I need to
Yes.
talk.
That's my only purpose in this video.
Uh,
Just
Uh,
to add in brief little witty diatribes about.
Oh, witty put in quotations. And by
Oh,
quotations, I mean the
oh,
quotations
okay.
say, this is a lie.
Oh, kudos.
Like, no, actually, no, wait, I take that back. The quotations are not, don't say this is a lie. The quotations are parentheses, and the first quote, the opening quotes is, the next word is a lie. And then the closing quotes are, the previous word was a lie.
I was gonna say one thing on that opening credit.
Oh, yeah,
would
sure.
it be credit sequence technically?
Yeah, because, I mean, they're crediting the actors,
Okay.
they're crediting the studio, stuff like that.
As I said, I am not a film guy at all. They did say the technical advisor was Dunninger, who I can almost guarantee neither of you know who the hell he is.
No,
Apparently
I
he was a
totally
magician.
know. Just to contradict you, no, I don't at all.
Basically, Dunninger was a famous mentalist, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. In 1953, Dunninger, I think, was a big name, but I have to ask this. Why do you get a mentalist to be your magic advisor when there were other famous magicians at the time?
Exactly, what is a mentalist? Is it like is it like a guy who bends spoons with his mind, or what?
Mentalist does magic of the mind. Spoon bending, definitely mentalism. Mind reading. Those are basically in the 1950s, basically before Uri Geller, mentalism was just mind reading and very little else. But after Uri Geller came along and did spoon bending, basically that's when you start in with mentalists bending spoons and doing all of that other stuff with quote unquote props. So a magician
Let me
will
just say,
do
the Mentalist
magic.
is totally a ripoff of Psych. Just to.
Yeah.
No, I don't know if you guys seen that. It's funny. Psych, you know, the television show on USA. I think that's right. Yeah, they always it's the guy's playing a fake psychic detective, and then the Mentalist came on. I think 2-3 years into its run, and they just started referencing it, and like he goes, "I'm a psychic detective for the Santa Barbara Police Department." Oh, you mean like that guy on the show, The Mentalist? Yeah, except he's a fake.
Well, technically, all mentalists are fake. If you
Oh yeah,
claim,
definitely.
if you're a mentalist or a magician and you claim what you do is real supernatural powers, may I use a curse word here? I feel that.
Of course.
Fuck you. Fuck you in the ass. Really. There is. Never do that. Ever. I mean, here's the thing. Mentalists, very few, from what I can tell, actually come out and say, everything I do here is fake. Very few also come out and say, everything I do is real. Most of them come out and do their act, and if someone comes up to them afterwards and, you told me my grandmother's maiden name, are you real? At which point, then you get the bullshit answer of, well, I may or I may not be. No, fuck you. Tell them that it's all a lie. Tell them that you're doing tricks. You know?
Because it's
The
just
thing about mentalism is, from what I understand about it, it's a little bit of manipulative language that makes people think of a certain thing. Then they tend to give it away through the words they're using, the way their body language changes, stuff like that.
Actually, about this, one of the producers being a mentalist in a Houdini film, do you think that's the reason why they added, like, well, at least hinted to the fact, like, hey, Houdini actually did believe in the supernatural, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, maybe that? Was...
I don't think so. Here's the thing about the whole spiritualism thing. I don't know if Houdini was a Christian or an atheist, but honestly, if you're debunking spiritualists, or in this day and age, psychics, you can still be someone who believes in an afterlife. It's just, do you believe that these assholes are actually contacting the dead? You know?
That's the thing is, I suppose it didn't. It did and it didn't, because the thing is, the ending line is, "I will come back," and yes, there were seances. They're like still yearly, if I'm correct. There are seances held to see if Houdini has managed to come back from the dead, but that's because he wanted to prove that no one could, by giving a code word kind of thing where he.
Oh, dude, Houdini would escape from the afterlife. That would be his greatest work.
Well, wait. Zombie Houdini.
Yes!
Make that into a film.
Milan, draw a zombie Houdini. It'll be amazing.
I will. I've got to now. I got
well, wait, since Bill's not in the video anymore, draw
add that to the title
where he should be. Please?
I will. I'll draw you your Houdini zombie.
See, Milan will just draw anything if you, like, ask him nicely enough and you just butter him up a little bit, because he gets absolutely no personal validation in his day-to-day life, so just the smallest things will easily turn him to do like the most ridiculous stuff ever.
You know what?
The sad thing is that everything that Ian just said is so completely true. Oh god.
Well, since we're talking about the title card, which I haven't made yet, if you're going to add in Zombie Houdini, we have to have him in a Batman mask, right?
Nah, just zombie Houdini. He doesn't need to be in a Batman mask. He can be in a Batman cape, or he could have like the Batman glove thingies. But I feel like we're venturing into inside jokes.
Well,
see, the weird thing is, people are listening to this and they're looking at what we made and put up the video.
Good point.
So we don't know, and then they get to hear the interesting discussion of what they're looking at.
What do you mean it's not done? I see it right now.
Yeah, but remember, kids, we're talking about things that have not yet happened. It may have happened where in the time-space continuum where you are living in, but right now, right this second, I have not drawn the title card. We're just throwing out ideas. But
we're coming to you from the past.
Ooh. We are the dead ghosts of... Well, not dead. We are the
dead ghosts? What the hell's a dead ghost? I thought ghosts are, by definition, already have died, and they're back.
Well, there's such a thing as living ghosts.
Folks, you've heard it here first. We are all dead.
Yep.
Well, but only on the inside. Only on the inside.
That's been dead proven. See what I did? No, okay. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Since this is going to a very strange place, I feel like
these shows usually do.
Fair enough. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. All right, so like I like parts of the Houdini movie. Like I said, I thought some of the ways they shot some of the stuff was pretty cool looking. I just don't think it had a very strong story, and here's the thing, it definitely needs to be remade. Like, we said there is another Houdini movie that I haven't seen, so maybe that's better, but...
which one are you talking about? The one with Bill Bixby?
I don't know. When was that one?
I don't recall. It's a made-for-TV movie.
Have you seen it? Is it any better?
I saw it. Here's the thing. It looks, the video quality, because what I was able to find was off of YouTube. Someone just taped it off of TV, and the quality...
like they filmed their TV.
No,
Oh.
it's just that because when it was made and on TV, the quality is shit. The
Oh.
movie has better picture quality, obviously. But honestly, here's the thing. I didn't watch it. I was planning on watching it last night. I haven't seen it in a few years, but I seem to recall that it's more historically accurate than the Houdini movie.
Okay.
But
Wait,
honestly,
there's a film from 2008? What?
what?
Death-defying acts? Hold on, I'm sorry. I was just Googling it to see if I could see any, like, pictures from the film. And there's apparently a movie made in 2007 called Death-defying acts that is based on him. Love is inescapable is the tagline. Ha!
No, it's another The Illusionist ripoff, or whatever the hell.
No,
that
actually,
was.
it says Guy Pearce as Harry Houdini. I like Guy Pearce.
I'm gonna
might
have to check
watch this
that
one.
out.
Anyway, sorry. No, I just you were saying so. Like from what you remember, is it any better than this one?
Well, historically speaking, yes, it's better. I just seem to recall that the film itself is really, really dull. It takes a while to get into it, if I recall. Honestly, between the two, I'll go with the Houdini movie, even though it is historically inaccurate, because it's just a funner film. So
Fair enough. I don't know. It looked okay to me. Well, no, the film was okay. It's just knowing what I know about Houdini, it doesn't hold up because I'm sitting there like several times when I was watching this. I just thought to myself, he would hate this film, you know. Well, first of all, he'd be like, "Holy shit, pictures that can talk and it's in color," but then he would be like, "I hate this film."
Well, let me ask you this here. You've only seen it the one time, right?
Yeah.
If you were to watch it again, knowing that it's historically inaccurate, do you think that you would have more fun enjoying the film?
Possibly, but the thing is, I went into it knowing it probably wasn't going to be historically accurate. I didn't think they'd get it this wrong, but I still enjoyed parts of it, so maybe. I don't know. Now that I could focus on the parts that I enjoyed and see if there was more to enjoy, maybe. The other thing that kind of annoyed me is, like, he was working in this factory at one point in the movie, a safe and locks factory.
Yeah.
And, like, the foreman on the floor said, "Hey, Houdini, come over here." Like, they wouldn't have called him Houdini.
Right. Well, his name was, what, Eric Weiss? Something like that?
I don't know his name, to be honest.
You know, it's interesting. Houdini and Superman are the two things that... Hold on one second, my dad.
Anyway. No, I saw that, and, like, everyone was calling him Houdini. Even people that definitely should not have been calling him Houdini were calling him Houdini. It just made me laugh.
Here's the thing, the biggest historical inaccuracy, I can live with Houdini dying in the water torture cell, even though it was called Pagoda torture cell. Anyway, the biggest thing was Houdini's mother. She was, I believe, a Hungarian immigrant, something like that.
Yeah.
And Houdini's name was, I believe it was Eric Weiss.
Yeah.
And her accent was so horrible that she would say Eri for and it became Harry. Then
okay.
Sorry, I'm back.
Oh, just telling you how Harry Houdini got the name Harry. Well, you can listen to the podcast and find that out, right?
Yep. No, and that's the thing is, I remember I saw a couple documentaries on Houdini when I was in high school, because a professor, or not professor. See, that's the thing is, once you go into college, you start saying professor because that's the technical name for a college teacher. But anyway, the teacher in high school liked playing documentaries on people that, you know, don't get covered enough, to be honest. So we watched one on Houdini, one on P.T. Barnum. And so it was fun to watch those. But I remember the story behind the name Houdini itself was that there was a magician he saw named the Great Houdini, and he liked it so much that he was talking to a friend of his who knew, God, what was it? I don't even remember what language Houdini was from, but he goes,
Arabic?
"Oh, but if you put Oh, or if you put
Mhm.
Ini or whatever it is
I
on the
believe
end of,
I believe you named the wrong magician, Robert
Really?
Houdin, because
Yes, thank
if you
you,
add
because
an I
Hardin was,
after,
yeah, you're right. Hardin
because
was his brother's name.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Robert Houdin was French, I believe, and adding an I at the end means like. So Houdini was like Houdin or
Yep,
Houdin. So
yep, that's it. See, Hardin was his brother.
yeah,
I always do that whenever I tell this story, unfortunately.
Mm.
But thank
Say,
you. Yeah,
it's
what?
interesting that it's interesting that at the time, Superman and Houdini was the greatest pop cultural hurrah for all middle class like poor Jewish boys. It's interesting.
Mhm.
interesting. Yeah, you're not wrong. People would have really latched on to the, you know, underdog story of Houdini coming up. But yeah, you were talking about her, Maxwell. You were talking about her accent wasn't portrayed correctly in this.
Oh, in this she speaks English, as well as a American can speak English. Honestly,
Ouch.
well that's for all of our English viewers, which I don't know how many English viewers you get on this, but honestly, her English was horrible from the stories that I've heard, and because his name was Eric Weiss, I'm gonna retell this again because I think it's such a great story. When she would call him, it was Eri, and it just became, when people would hear it, Eri, who the hell is gonna say, "Oh, hello, Eri," which as Americans we take the English language and convert it slightly, and Eri sounds a bit like Harry, so that's how the name Harry came into play, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and that is cool. No lie, I do like that story. It's that's one I hadn't heard about him before. I just
Oh.
I like Houdini stories. I like Houdini. I like P.T. Barnum stories just because they're just clever bastards.
Actually, that reminds me, in the film, Houdini says that he came up with the sawing a woman in half, and if I'm correct, it was actually P.T. Barnum who came up with sawing a woman in half. And
See, I didn't realize that. I when they first showed that, yeah, he saws his wife in half on their wedding night. By
Yeah.
the way,
that was one of the best jokes in my opinion in the whole
yeah,
thing.
that was really funny. He saws her in half, and then she's like, screaming and freaking out the whole time, and then the blade goes all the way through, and she goes, "Oh, ah," and he's like, "Ah, pretty cool, huh? Nice illusion." And she goes, "Yeah, it's just not what I expected on my wedding night."
Actually, here's the thing. I would love to know what Harry's mother thought was going on when she was doing the screaming, because she's like just the room over.
Oh, come
Wow, they
on,
must
she's
be
an old.
having a lot of fun.
Oh, definitely.
No, but I don't know. Is there anything else really to say about this movie? It's enjoyable, but it's not accurate. It's well acted, but they're just it's got 50s pacing, so things about it don't quite work in a modern context.
Well, here's the thing. If you're okay with the historical inaccuracies, watch it. If you're gonna get hung up on it, this is definitely not the film for you. But here's the thing. If you're a magician and you've never seen it, I think you'll enjoy it regardless. So it's just actually, here's the thing. I think that would probably be magicians who get hung up on it just because of the inaccuracies. Because what do laymen know about Houdini? He was a magician. That's all they know, So if they watched this, they would say, "Oh, wow, that's true to life?" Hell no.
Yeah.
It's interesting that apparently, well, according to Spawn, Houdini was also an actual magician who knew actual magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you been watching Spawn Year at all, Maxwell?
Well,
Yeah,
I have.
I've been cracking up at some of the shit that's been going on in that damn series. The Penn button made me laugh so hard. Um,
I would like to tell you one of my absolute favorite Houdini story, if I may.
oh sure.
Go
And
ahead.
yeah, let's after you tell that, let's start talking about magic broadly then.
Okay. Here's the thing about Houdini. I've seen some old clips of his. Horrible, shitty magician. Mediocre tops. He was good escape artist, the best with publicity. That is where Houdini really excelled. And this here is just about his publicity. As you know, he would hang upside down, escape from straitjackets. And you told the story on the previous Magic podcast about his brother handing out flyers.
Yeah.
His show. But my favorite thing about the publicity is in one town at least, he would get a bunch of bald men to paint each letter of Houdini on the top of their head and bend over and just walk through town just so that people could see Houdini is in town. And I just think that is a hilarious image. Houdini. 7 bald men walking down the street bent over with the word Houdini spelled. That.
Well, it would certainly grab attention, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, I'm surprised that folks don't do that at sporting events. Just get a bunch of bald guys to paint the letters on their head instead of having the fat guys with it painted on their chest,
Ugh, God, I don't understand that at all.
I don't understand sports at all, so...
Neither do I. I really missed out on an opportunity, and I think I'm going to try to do this next year. I think I'm going to do a live show during the Super Bowl for all the people that aren't watching it. Just for the Geeky Gentleman live show or something like that, just taking place during the Super Bowl for the people that don't care.
And the subject is Geeky Gentlemen, we hate sports.
Maybe. I don't want to say I hate sports, I just don't care.
We are apathetic. We are apathetic to physical activity.
Yes, that is an amazing title.
Well,
see, it was interesting what you just said there, Maxwell. At the beginning of the story, with Houdini was a mediocre magician at best.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess it depends how you define the distinction between magician and escape artist.
That's something that we should discuss.
Yeah, because I would consider escape artistry part of magic as long as you don't show how you're doing it. Let me put it that way, if that makes sense. As long as you don't show, I have picks in my pockets, then what you're doing is magic to me, because you got to be able to make sure people don't see that part. So it is that sleight of hand, kind of. I think it's a gray line the more I think about it, because yeah, you got, hanging upside down, getting out of a straitjacket, as you said in the other podcast you did. It's actually easier to do it that way, but it looks damned impressive.
Yeah. Well, here's my thing about escape artistry. It is not magic by itself. If you're doing a magic show and you include the straitjacket escape, I think it's within the same idea as if you include juggling or a ventriloquist act in your show. Mainly because if you're doing, let's say, an hour-and-a-half show with no breaks, I don't think laymen... magicians would sit through 10 hours straight, honestly. But laymen, I think you need some sort of a break if your show is over an hour long. And if you do escapes or ventriloquism or juggling, it's just, it's a break from the magic. You're showing off skill at that point. Which, honestly, the thing about magic is it takes a lot of practice. Well, provided you're not doing store-bought tricks, but that is a rant I want to get into later. the big thing.
Oh, by the way,
Yeah.
guys, real quick, Maxwell's attempting to make this the longest Geeky Gentleman ever, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
My friend, if you can beat our record of the Dark Knight Rises video,
How
then
long
I
is
swear to
that
God.
one?
How long is that one?
3.5 hours. It's longer than the movie.
How long?
3.5 hours. And if you beat that record, my friend, I will literally, I will do like a poster of you or something for your show or something.
Oh, actually, I think I want you to do that anyway, because I like Maxwell's channel. I went and watched a bunch of his videos now.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. That'd be, like, no lie, Milan's art is really cool. So if he does a poster review, that'd be a great YouTube background for, like, your channel page.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, just in that, you know, classic, you know... Oh, man, Milan, that will be cool. We'll talk about that afterward, because I do kind of want to see that. No, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to keep going with what you were talking about, Maxwell.
I forgot where I was going with that.
Oh, sorry.
Well,
you were talking.
yeah,
you were mentioning, you know, escape artistry is a way to break it up and insert skill.
Because magic is a lot of skill. Magicians, or at least I personally, I'll talk. Here's the thing. Consider everything that I say, take it with a grain of salt, and if I make generalizations, assume that I'm referring mostly to myself unless I specify that I'm not one of these generalizations, okay?
Sure, that's fine, go ahead.
For me, when I do magic, it takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of hard work for something that no one should ever see. And if you can...
Good. That's good.
Here's the thing. If you see any card manipulation act, that you can see the skill that goes into it. And people applaud the skill of it, not the magic of it, because if you go into the back palm, well, if you're holding a card in your hand and it vanishes, you're doing the back palm, it's skill. As a layman, you will not be applauding it based on, I'm fooled, where did it go? No, laymen know, oh, it's behind the hand. And you applaud it based on the skill for it. And that's kind of my big problem with card acts, is because very little in card acts, manipulation acts, is very little is actual magic that fools people. A lot of it is, I'm showing you my skill with it, applaud the skill. And magicians...
See, I would disagree with you there, for at least from my perspective, because I purposefully don't do research because I don't want to know, so that's part of it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of what I see card tricks, I know that the card did not actually disappear, and I am applauding the skill of him being able to make it go away without my knowing where, but I don't applaud it because of the skill. I literally don't know how he does it, so that's what's impressing me about it. Not just the skill associated with making it disappear, but the fact that I have no idea where it could have possibly gone for a lot of the time.
Oh.
Basically, for me, magic is like, oh my god, he's doing something I cannot explain. That is so impressive.
Well,
Lon, I wish I had video on so I could do the thumb trick right now. I just feel like that would work on you.
Totally, like, oh my god, he's popping.
Ian, your thumb's gone! Oh my god!
And then I clap like a retard, like, yay!
Sorry. We keep interrupting Maxwell's very interesting and articulate points about magic.
Yes, we do, and we're sorry, Maxwell.
Well, you know, if you keep interrupting me, I'll definitely go over like 4 hours at this rate.
Oh,
that's perfectly okay.
That's perfectly okay.
I would not have any problem with that, to be perfectly honest.
Actually, here's the thing. If it does go like 4 hours, which all of you who are viewing this know exactly how long we've talked, I think the longer this show goes on, just for, you know, time-wise, you know what I'm trying to say, right? The time of the video.
Yeah.
I think if we're pushing a 4-hour or 6-hour thing, we won't get a lot of views on the video. You know?
Well, it'll depend. If it's extremely long, I will cut it up. But the thing is, it's a podcast, so especially with the way YouTube, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but YouTube added a feature that I really like where on videos I think over 20 minutes long, if you go away from it and then come back within a week, it'll snap right to within a minute of where you were.
Nice.
I know. I love that. It's great.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is a really cool feature. But, I mean, even if we do go 4 hours, that's perfectly okay because it's a podcast and people can download it. So, you know, I prefer longer shows just because as long as we're not just sitting here not talking about anything, we're just like, okay.
Like we're doing right now.
No, we are talking about something. We're talking about the format of podcasts.
Yes,
no, as long as we're like the thing is that the format of the show is it's supposed to be a conversation, and not every conversation is hard and fast to one singular topic. People do get off on tangents, so that's what I like.
Because here on Sid Part 2's channel, we embrace the tangents.
You know what, Maxwell? Real quick, would you just repeat what he said in your cool hello folks voice, just so I can? I'm building a clip show.
On Geeky Gentleman. Okay, what is the line again?
Here on Sid Part 2's channel, we embrace the tangent.
Here on Sid Part 2's channel, we embrace the tangent.
Yay! I got him and Captain Logan to do it. I'm excited.
Yes.
Should that be tangent or tangents?
Tangents, doesn't matter.
Well, if we say tangent, that means we only go on one tangent.
No, embrace the concept of the tangent.
Oh. On Sid Part 2's channel, we embrace the idea of the tangent.
That's a little... See, the thing is, here on Sid Part 2's channel, we embrace the tangent. That's perfectly good to put on a t-shirt. But the idea of the tangent seems to be going on a little long. It's not very catchphrasy.
Here on Sid Part 2's channel, we embrace the philosophical idea of the tangent.
Oh, actually, put that underneath the Revenge Initiative t-shirt as the tagline. Because we do not revenge anything. We just go off on these weird videos that we never discuss again. Well, wait. The Revenge Initiative. The big-lipped alligator moment of who reviews the reviewers.
Are you talking the one where we kidnapped Captain Logan and did horrible things to him?
I don't think Maxwell saw that episode. Yeah, but we did an episode with Cap, and the title card is Cap, tied down to a chair, and us, standing around him with torture objects.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get back to the topic.
I'll just describe it to him quickly.
No, Milan. If he wants to see it, he can go check out the video. It's fine.
Okay.
No, let's get back to the topic a little bit. So you were talking about how escape artistry is kind of like juggling. And I'm going to disagree with that as someone with no expertise in magic whatsoever, so you know how important my opinion is.
Yes. Take my opinion with a grain of salt, take yours with an entire salt shaker, right?
No, those, big bottles of salt that you buy? Never mind. Anyway, no, just, I think it is because you really do have, you can say, oh, he has a lockpick, or oh, it's a trick lock, or yada yada yada, or oh, there's really, oxygen inside the box with him, blah blah blah. You can explain it away, but even if you're right, you're probably not going to be willing to do it yourself. Let me put it that way. Yeah. You would because you're an actual magician. I wouldn't. No. That's the thing. I said, yes, sure, it's easier to get out of a straitjacket while hanging upside down from a building. I'm not going to do it still.
Well,
I have no intention whatsoever to do it.
Well, here's the thing. I never plan on being hung upside down because I have a major fear of heights. But if I were to put you into a straitjacket, you'd still escape from it because it's easy.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's not... I'm not going to say that it's, amazing sleight of hand, and I know you said not to use this word, but I'm going to use this word. I know it's not amazing misdirection, it's just the spectacle of it is impressive.
Yeah.
And there's sleight of hand involved in many of the situations.
Yeah.
I'd agree that the straitjacket escape is not a sleight of hand, and
Right.
it's a good cherry on top for a major escape, though. There's
definitely.
nothing quite like being locked inside a cupboard that's about to be lit on fire inside while you're in a straitjacket.
Well, speaking, if we can go back to the Houdini movie real quick.
Sure.
When they were doing the metamorphosis, where Bess gets into the trunk. No, Houdini gets into...
No, Bess gets
into the trunk, and she gets handcuffed. In something like that, here nowadays it's just everyone locks themselves in handcuffs and gets inside of the bag. But back then, it would add to the effect.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't think it adds anything. In fact, I don't think being inside of the bag adds anything.
Yeah, that's the thing is, that was Houdini's signature, is because that was the big problem he had just with... You were saying that he was great at marketing, and he was, but the giant problem he had was because mass media wasn't a big thing then, because, pictures weren't everywhere.
Yeah.
You couldn't... People would steal his name and say that he was Houdini.
Yes.
So, and thank God, that's something that doesn't happen anymore, just on a level of respect, not even... not as much.
In this day and age, you do have magicians who add... let's say I were to create a website for myself, which I plan on doing sometime this year. Mainly so for my shows, not for the review show, for the actual magic shows that I do. But if I wanted to get more hits, I could add just a quick line about David Copperfield is a great magician in my website, and if you type in David Copperfield and if you type in the city where I live, which there are a lot of crazy folks online, I am not giving out where I live at all, for obvious reasons. But if I were to do that and someone typed in David Copperfield and the name of my city, they would get my website, even though it has jack shit to do with David Copperfield.
Well, no, what I'm saying is he would, people would say they were Houdini.
Yeah.
And then he had a lot of problems getting bookings because people go, why should I hire you for or whatever good amount of money was back then, when I can hire this guy for $20 and everyone's going to believe it's you anyway. So he started doing those crazy ass stunts that no one else would ever attempt. And I mean, well, not ever, because obviously they are nowadays.
Well,
but back then, no one would try that because it would just be insane.
Yeah.
No, but it's just to get back to the point I was trying to make, I think escape artistry is a part of magic. It's not as what's the word? It's not as technically specific as some of the other things involved in magic.
Well, if you take an escape and add it to a bigger effect, I think it works. Just an escape in and of itself, because I think with escapes you need some form of danger involved of, if I don't escape in X amount of time, if I don't escape in X amount of time, something bad will happen. Let me say, I'm gonna go off onto another mentalist. For the life of me, I cannot recall his name. If anyone knows what it is, type it in the comments. But he would do muscle reading, and he would take someone from the audience and have them hide his paycheck in the theater. Then he would hold on to their wrist and go through the theater and try and find his check. And if he didn't do it, he wasn't going to get paid for the show. And something like that. There's no physical danger attached, just financial danger, which, if it's something where, Sid, I want you to lock me in this box, and if I do not escape in 2 minutes, you get to keep my paycheck. Right there.
Deal.
Well, here's the thing. Right there, that's good dramatics. That gives a reason for the escape. And here's the big problem with magic. You need a reason to do these things. And escapes, you need some element of danger. Just being locked in the box and escaping is not that entertaining in and of itself. But if it's combined with something else, you have a great effect, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with you there. I like, the problem with escape artistry is it doesn't make for a very compelling show, except for the fact that, you know, unless death is a major thing that can happen. Because that was the thing I noticed about this movie a lot. There were a couple times where you were just looking at a hole, or where, as someone that was watching the trick, let's say, you would have been looking at a hole in a patch of ice, or a safe in the middle of the room.
Yeah.
That's boring.
Yeah.
I think glass box escapes are becoming more and more popular because they do, you know, it is more interesting to see the person trying to get out, but it takes away some of the mystery.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. I don't know, like, fire is something that's being used more and more, I think. Just from what I've seen. Sorry about that, guys. We had to go for a quick restroom break. Anyway, like, what I was saying, though, is I think that escape artistry is impressive, and I'm going to agree with you, Maxwell. It's not magic in and of itself most of the time, but it definitely works better when you add some stakes to it, make it part of a bigger thing.
Yeah.
Because it can get really boring to sit there and watch a box. Like, if you put, you know, if someone's just, I'm gonna get in this box and then I'm gonna get out. Okay, so how long is it gonna take? Oh, about 5 minutes. So I'm gonna sit there watching you in a box and a clock? Seriously?
Well, actually, here's the thing. When Houdini and Bess did the metamorphosis, they had a sort of a cabinet thing where the curtains would close and then they would open back up and the switch had taken place. And even for his other escapes, people would be thinking, well, there could be someone else in there actually undoing the locks for him. And it slowly came to him that he had to do the escapes live so that people could see, no, I'm not using other people. This is all my skill.
And that's actually one of the things I really liked. It was toward the end of the movie when he escaped from the metal straitjacket. It's a solid steel straitjacket that these guys said they made in, I think, their own workshop.
Yeah.
And it's got a pin in the back that puts all these locks into it, and it's got two kind of, you know, handcuffy things down the front of it, and it's just held together by two padlocks. He's like, okay, guys, can you two hold my cape? And they hold it above his head, and, like, the second it goes above his head, his hands come up and pull the curtain down a little bit. He goes, oh, that's a little too high. And no one seemed to notice it. I thought that was so clever in the movie.
Sid, can we actually add that clip to the video?
I can't because of copyright stuff. I'll put an annotation and find it on. Let me just I'll see if I can find an annotation and put it up. Because I thought that was so cool. Just that it was so quick.
Maybe you can add in a GIF. Would that be copyright?
Maybe not. I'll see if I can find it.
Yeah, my whole thing is I don't give a damn about copyright, honestly. Just
it's
because
not that I care about it, it's just that
YouTube, they don't believe in fair use.
Yeah, that's
only
the thing.
For the big channels.
I would love to play clips and stuff. It's not that I care about the copyright because, oh, it's wrong to use someone's copyright. No, once you put the material out there, I could care less. As long as I'm not making money, you shouldn't care. But the thing is, YouTube blocks it and takes it down, and we really need, because of Geeky Gentlemen, we really need the unlimited upload format.
Yeah.
So it's something I can't, I can't take down in good, or I can't put up too much copyright stuff in good conscience. You know, still images, and I think I put, you know, a clip of me playing the Arkham Asylum video game up for a whole 30 seconds at one point, but that was it.
So basically your thing is you're just trying to save your own ass from you.
Yeah, it has nothing to do. I could care
Yeah.
less about copyrights. And honestly, if you're not making money, it shouldn't matter at all,
Right.
as long as you're not uploading the entire thing.
Right.
That I kind of understand. It annoyed me when they started taking down all the clips, but even then, I guess, you know, it's not convenient, but at least there's grounds for that. You know, if someone's just putting clips of these people's movies online, fair enough. I mean, I guess you can take it down. But if I'm putting up the clip and I'm commenting on it and I'm, you know,
Yeah.
reviewing it,
That
I should be able to use it.
you should be able to get paid for it too, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. But whatever. Anyway, I thought that was clever. But I was saying this before we went back to the break. I'm noticing fires used a lot in modern escape artist tricks.
Here's the thing: I can't talk that well about fire or escape artistry because although I do magic, escapes and fire are not really in my wheelhouse.
Oh no, that's fine.
I can talk generally on it. So
no, I'm just talking about the aesthetic of it. I think it is a good because that's the thing. You can talk about the technical aspects of magic. Yeah. I can talk about the aesthetics because of my background in theater. Milan can sit there and go, "Oh yeah, that's cool."
Yeah. Or it can be just like our listeners and just sit back and enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically my whole thing. Sometimes I just break in like, oh wow, golly wowzers, guys, that's an interesting point. Please go on.
Golly wowzers? Well,
Yes.
I guess Houdini was in 53, that works.
No, Milan, that's the thing, Milan doesn't talk until he starts, and then he just doesn't stop. And it's like, dude, get to a point, or shut up. And that's the thing, is that there's been a couple times where I've just let Milan go, and then he gets to a point where he goes, and that's it. I have nothing else to say. Oh, I thought you were building up to something. Nope, I'm just talking. Thanks, Milan. Thank you so much.
Let me say this about fire in magic. Because I find it's kind of difficult to do tricks with fire, let alone do tricks with cigarettes nowadays. I don't know why. I mean, it shouldn't be that big of a problem. If you're lighting a match, using flash paper, anything like that, it's out just like that, you know? And yet, you'll still occasionally get where there needs to be a fire marshal there or something like that, and really, just to light a candle that I'm going to vanish in 10 seconds? Yes, for legal reasons.
That's annoying.
What kind of bullshit is this?
Alright,
You know?
guys, since my only purpose in this video is to be the showgirl and to stand and look pretty,
And you do that job very well.
Thank you, Maxwell.
Milan,
Thank you
except
very
for the
much.
look pretty part.
Oh, thanks, Ian. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Way to take back a man's compliment of me. But anyway, since I don't really have anything much to add, I'm just gonna leave you guys just to talk about this whole magic topic. And please, Maxwell, it was a pleasure meeting you. And Ian, of course, it's always a pleasure. But I gotta go.
Oh
Cheers.
no, it's fine. It's fine.
Have a good night.
Oh, well, see, that's...
He hung up right when I said that.
No, actually, I dropped him from the call just
Oh.
because... Sorry.
So it's all your fault that I didn't get to say goodbye.
Yes. And I have no regrets.
You know what? See if I do another podcast on magic with you.
You probably will, if I ask.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, it's just it's interesting that this turned into it because yeah, I have an interest in magic just from a stage aspect, and you have the technical background in it. And I thought Milan might have some things to say on it because he was totally going to the last time we were gonna do a video on magic, but due to technical difficulties he couldn't. And Bill might have had an interesting perspective as well, but he got really busy with schoolwork, so it's unfortunate that they couldn't be in this video for the full run. But hey, man, I'm having a good time.
The full 24-hour run of it, yeah.
Yeah, the 24-hour magic video on Geeky General. That
that would
it's
be
gonna
hell,
be you
wouldn't it?
and me that watch it. That's it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You know what? Probably. Yeah, I still have to post a video saying that I was in the Who Responds To, so that my viewers know to look for that. So, yeah. Let me get on to this, if I may. The word misdirection
Sure.
should not be used in magic. It should be direction. For the simple fact that with the word misdirection, it sounds like, oh, I missed him doing the move. Whereas it should be, he directed my attention away from it, if that makes sense.
Well, that's the thing is, it's called misdirection in my mind, at least, because you're supposed to, like, you want to be looking at how he's doing it, but he's directing your attention away from that specifically. Well, so he's misdirecting you. He's like, you know, that's the thing is the Lance Burton act. He's building up to his climax, and he's got a bunch of ducks on stage, and they're live actual ducks that are just walking around on stage doing duck things, and you know, he sits there, and it's such powerful misdirection. I'm gonna use the word still. It's such powerful misdirection that he goes, notice how everyone in the audience is watching the ducks. That's good. It's called misdirection. That's the thing. He pointed it out that he was using them to distract you from what he was doing. Yeah. But it didn't matter because you were still looked at them. Because they were ducks. Yeah.
But I have a lot of things that piss me off about magic. Which sounds really stupid. You know, what? The magician hates magic? No, I like good magic. I like great magic. I hate bad magic. And here's the thing. You probably aren't going to believe this, but I have 9 pages I just pulled out of a 3-ring spiral notebook, and just jotted down stuff, and it's all around my computer just so that I can look up, and I'm just going to read a few of these, if I may.
Go ahead. Someone came to Geeky Gentleman with notes. This is a first.
Well, technically I didn't. There are notes that are always around me. Okay, first one. The method does not matter, only the performance does. And honestly, I feel that the reason why I wrote these down is because I feel that they're true. The method does not really matter. It doesn't matter if you top palm a card or bottom palm a card, as long as it gets loaded into the wallet. You know.
See, you got such cool slang, and I'm not going to ask you to define it at all. I was about to say, wait, can you define that? I was like, no. Well, he shall not.
Actually, I will. Top palm and bottom palm is just a way that you can palm a card out of a deck. And loading it into the wallet is, have you seen the effect signed card to wallet?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, you have to load it into the wallet somehow. Load is kind of self-explanatory there.
Yeah, what I believe it's referencing putting it back in the deck, right?
No, you steal the card from the deck, and you load or put it into the wallet.
Okay.
So,
alright, never mind then. No, it's like, I like the technical aspect. Like, I respect the technical aspect, but it's something I don't want to know because I have no intention of ever doing it. Just because I like magic, but I just couldn't see myself doing magic. I have no intention to ever do it, so I don't want to break the fun for me. And like I was saying earlier, the fun for me is very much, I have no idea how he did that, but it was so cool looking.
Right.
Because I have that background in theater, and what you were just saying, the method doesn't matter, it's the performance that matters. I agree with you 120,000%. Because
that's technically impossible, though.
No, it's not, because magic. Sorry, really stupid joke.
Actually, that reminds me of another thing. Magicians, if you use a song that has magic in the title or magic in the, what's it called? where they keep repeating the same, like, 4 lines every so often in the song. What's that called?
Chorus?
Yeah, in the chorus. If it's in the title or in the chorus, never use that song, ever. Yeah.
Really?
It's cheesy. I mean, here's the
I don't
example.
know. It depends how self-aware they are. I'm gonna say that.
Well, here's my example. You wouldn't... If I went to a doctor's office and they were playing Weird Al's Like a Surgeon, I would go to another doctor.
Fair enough. But if the doctor was making jokes about it, that would be funny.
There are exceptions to the rule, but...
Yeah, and I'd agree with you in a general sense, yes, but at the same time, I could imagine someone doing a good act where it would actually work. Like, I'm trying to think of songs with magic in the title. It's one of those things, it's like, think of Pink Elephants. I can't think of anything but Pink Elephants, except it's the exact opposite of that right now.
Well, oh, ho, ho, it's magic.
Magic,
you know.
Never believe it ain't sad. And Ian's tone deaf. No, but...
there's another one, Magic Man.
You'd have to sing it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't recall the song.
That's fine. It's
there was another one.
Here, while you're thinking, Piff the Magic Dragon, who I think is just hilarious. He's so self-aware of how shitty a magic act can look that he actually is able to do legitimately interesting and good stuff because of how it's like he throws you off so much coming out on stage wearing a shitty dragon costume that it looks like he pulled out of the bin at a Goodwill, and he sells it with actually legitimately good tricks that you're like, oh man, this is so self-aware that it's awesome. Well, and that's the thing is, I think if you came out on stage and you were like, you did like a really blasé trick, but you played oh it's magic, or you sang it, that would be hilarious.
Well, here's the thing. For a comedian, great. Go ahead. Comedy magic. Try it out. It may work. But if you're trying to go and... I don't want to say this, but if you're going and trying to be a Lance Burton, which, don't copy his act. Magicians... Look, just type in Lance Burton copycat. You'll see how bad that shit is. But if you're trying to be serious, don't use those songs.
Yeah, and I'm not saying just from a comedic standpoint. I wouldn't consider Piff the Magic Dragon to be a comedic magician. I think he's someone that is doing a meta commentary. I think he's a good magician in and of his own right. I think that his act is just very self-aware of bad magic acts. So he's making fun of those in a way, like, if that was the first magician you ever saw, that would be a terrible experience. But for someone that's seen a lot of magic, it's pretty funny.
The other song that I was thinking of was Queen, A Kind of Magic. Okay. It's a kind of magic. You know, that one. Yeah.
Well, like, what I was getting at, though, is, you can use, oh, it's magic as a joke in the act. And I don't mind magicians making jokes in the act as long as they don't turn into The Amazing Jonathan, where the entire act is a joke. And, like, any of the tricks he's doing are so watered down that it's just boring.
I really don't like The Amazing Jonathan. I think it was in my Masters of Illusion 2 review. Did you see that one?
Yeah.
I believe in that one, The Amazing Jonathan was there, and he did the spike through the girl's cheek. Mm-hmm. I believe I went on a rant about, I don't want to be in an audience there. Even though, here, I think she was a stooge.
Oh yeah, she would have had to be. If he did that to an actual person, no one would have laughed.
That's right. Stooges are not people.
Yes.
They are scum of the earth.
Mo, Larry, and Curly are just animals that you abuse. But that's the thing. I think the Three Stooges were kind of like the prototype of BDSM.
Here's the thing. I would love to see the Three Stooges doing magic, honestly.
I think there's been, like,
Penn and Teller in one of their TV specials did a thing where they played the Three Stooges and did some sort of magic in it. I forget what, but
I'm pretty sure they've done it. Like, I recall seeing an episode, because that's the thing, the Stooges had every job ever.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure there was one where they were magicians.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a legitimate magic act, but I'm pretty sure you can find an episode where they were magicians.
Yeah.
And they would have known actual magicians because of the way they worked in Hollywood at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure they would have made some jokes that, like, this is a lot of pretty sure's, but I'm fairly certain that if there is an episode where they're magicians, you can find some jokes that only magicians are gonna get.
Probably, yeah. I don't know. Here's the thing. There are some good magicians that just rub me the wrong way, and I don't know why. Here's
Like
the
who?
thing. Well, you like Piff the Magic Dragon. I don't. I think it's stupid. I really do. It's just not my type of performance, you know?
Well, like, let me try to defend it. What I like about it
go ahead.
is that it's so self-aware of bad magic acts.
See, that's probably why I don't like it, because even though it is self-aware of bad magic acts, because you're doing the self-aware thing, you're still playing up a bad magician.
Well, no, I mean, the acts, the tricks themselves, well, not necessarily spectacular.
Well, the tricks were good, I'll give them that. It's just the performance, the character.
Yeah, and that's what I like about it. It's just, I tend to like things that are self-aware just in general. You know, when they're played up for comedic timing and effect. And it's fine not to like him if it just doesn't work for you. But what I like about it is the self-aware nature of it, because I think it has the thing is this is a comedic magic act for people that have seen a billion magic acts.
Yeah.
You know. And it's just like he comes off as a horrible magician that thinks he's amazing.
Yeah.
And that's funny to me.
Well,
like he has that swagger on stage, and it works so well.
I was just looking at the things on my wall, and one of them popped out at me. I think you might have said something about this, but every show is someone's first show. And here's the thing. If Piff the Magic Dragon or The Amazing Jonathan was the very first magician you ever saw, would you want to see more magic?
Probably not. And like I said, I wouldn't consider him a good, starter magician. He's someone that's very much for you after you've been watching magic for a while.
Yeah.
And even then, if in your case, obviously it might not work. But I find it amusing from, because that's the thing is I'm not critiquing the tricks, you notice. I said I thought some of the tricks were really cool.
Yeah.
But I'm critiquing the stage, the performance of it, and I think it's a great performance. I don't know. Then he made his dog dance in a video he posted recently, which I thought was funny.
Yeah. If I may, I want to talk about birthday party magicians. Magicians. Oh, you already don't like them? Is that it?
Yep. Because it cheapens the medium, in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing. Birthday party magicians should be some of the best magicians. That they should take it very professionally, because, let's be honest here, I saw my very first magic show when I was either in primary or elementary school. And that really gives you the basis of what magic is supposed to be. And one of the things that really bugs me is that people see a magic show when they're a kid and they think, oh, okay, I'm going to hire a magician for my kid's birthday party, but as an adult, I'm not going to go out and watch a magician. No, it's because people think that magic is strictly a children's entertainment. Children's art form. point.
Yeah, and that's the thing is
One of
actually
those
that's
is
what
right.
Alec talked about in our last video on magic is his impression of magic before watching The Prestige and stuff for that video
Yeah.
was that it's something that's cute, but it's really just for kids. But then once you see the dedication, the meticulous amount of detail and work
Yeah.
that goes into an act, that's a legitimate act. It's overwhelmingly impressive.
Here's my big thing about kids. Well, not some kids performers are good. Some take it professionally and do good magic. I call you can be a good kids performer. You cannot be a good birthday magician. And if you're a good birthday magician, please let me see a little bit of your act, because I have not seen a good birthday party magician. And I've done a few birthday shows, and this here was a while back, and it sucked.
Well,
yeah,
that's I think why there are no
occasionally
good
sucks.
birthday magicians, because that's at that point it's probably the only work that you can get. It's probably for people that are just starting out, or for people, that have been in it for a very long time and are just getting to the point where they're very discouraged.
Well, here, birthday parties, that's good cash. Well, not in this economy, but you could make $100 or $200 at a birthday party minimum.
Yeah.
And I mean, for what? An hour's work tops? $200? Okay, so you just do magic for kids? That's a great paycheck. It really is. But my big thing is that when I think of a birthday party magician, I think of rabbits. That word's a little funky. Rabbits. Some words they don't
next
sound
2
right.
hours of this video are just Maxwell trying to say rabbit.
Rabbit. Yeah.
What's up, Doc?
Yes. I think of rabbits and prop tricks. And by prop tricks, I mean if the audience sees a prop, they'll go, "Could you be quiet, Winston?" Sorry, that's my parakeet. If the audience says...
It was just so proper. Winston isn't what you name a bird.
Really? Let me finish
Winston's
this.
a person name.
Let me finish my thought, and I'll tell you why I named him Winston, okay?
Okay, yeah.
If a layman says, if I owned that, I could do it too, I don't want to be associated with that trick.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to the circle square, which magicians know what that is. If you see a box, and you put something in it and the thing changes, you would go, well, if I owned that, I could do it too. And that gives magic a bad name, because it's, well, if I shelled out $500, I could get a show together too, and do the same thing.
Yeah. Which is why I think escape artistry it adds gravitas to the medium to a point, because it's not something that everyone can do, not just because they don't want to do it, but because it takes a certain amount of skill within it too.
Mm-hmm.
It adds shock and awe value to the medium, and it takes it away. You would never ever do an escape artist trick that involves, a death if this goes wrong kind of thing at a kid's party. You just would not do that,
Well, you'd be kind of surprised.
What?
Not escapes, but there's a version of sawing someone in half.
Uh-huh.
It costs like $500, and you use a one of the electric saws that's handheld. Kind of what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where you place this bit of a wooden partition, basically, over the kid's midsection. You take the electric saw, run it through, and they're safe. The problem with that is it looks like something that a kid's father would have in his workshop. Do you really want to be doing something where a kid would, hey, I want to be a magician too. Let me go and get Daddy's saw. Oh shit, I killed my best friend.
Yeah, that is extremely problematic. And I mean, that's the thing with kids, you can't just use the, oh, well, they should know not to do that thing. You can't use that excuse because kids don't understand the hard line between reality and fantasy.
Well, here's the other thing. You're an adult and a professional. You should know better. I mean, it's slightly different if you have a guillotine with you, because a kid's not going to build a guillotine. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, but a circular saw that you can buy, or that looks like something in a shed, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. Let me quickly...
Actually, let's talk about the staple real quick, if you don't mind.
Well, I was just going to tell you why I named my parakeet Winston, because I said that I would. The first or second day after I bought him, I was trying to think of a name, and he was kind of low, and his feathers were slightly poofed out, and he just reminded me a lot of a caricature of Winston Churchill. So I named him Winston because, he looks like Winston Churchill. If Winston Churchill was a parakeet.
I don't know if you know this or not, but Winston Churchill had a parrot.
Yeah.
And those things live for like 60 years or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, so after Winston Churchill died, that parrot lived for frickin' ever, and they kept it in Churchill's house, which they turned into a museum. And that thing cussed like a fucking sailor. And it was very specific cussing that, like, triggered that he obviously picked it up from Churchill. Because he'd say, bugger fucking Hitler, shit like that.
That is awesome. It really is.
It's one of those things, like, I think it's true. As far as I know, that is true, because I did hear it from a history teacher.
Yeah.
But I don't care if someone told me, no, actually, that's not true at all, I wouldn't care. That's
still
true
an awesome story.
Now. No, but let's talk about the staple, because you did kind of mention it. Rabbit out of a hat. Does that trick have value?
Well, here's the thing. You hardly ever see it. And honestly, I think that doves are becoming the new rabbit in the hat. And it's something where if you ask a layman, what does a magician do? They'll either say, rabbit from hat, or, could you please be quiet, Winston? That's the other one that they'll say. Please be quiet, Winston. Or it'll be, he pulls doves from his sleeves. And I've heard magicians talk about if you use an animal, it's cheap applause because they're applauding the animal, not the magic. And I'm going to say this about dove magic, then I'll get back to the rabbit and hat. Okay?
Okay.
Dove magic, in my opinion, you can do maybe 2 productions of doves in the act without vote. If you see a dove act, take for example Lance Burton's. He produces, 6 doves, then he does card magic, a card manipulation act. If he did the card act first, I should say this, Lance Burton is now retired, so he won't be doing it again. If Lance did the card act first, you would get a certain amount of applause. But because you've already done doves in that same manipulation act, people are looking for more doves. What the hell was that?
Oh, sorry.
My
bad.
So, if you take it that the card act would get out of 10 an 8 for applause, but if you do dove magic first in the same 8-minute act, the card magic, the applause you're gonna get is now a 5.
That makes sense. Because, there's that whole live element, and I mean, while it's not exactly the hardest thing in the world to control a dove, animals do have that, you know, not exactly under 100% control kind of thing to them, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that does add a little bit of, you know, just from a logical standpoint as an audience member, that adds to the level of the amount of which you're impressed, because wherever he's keeping them, you're not seeing the doves, you know, move around in his jacket or anything like that. So
Yeah.
that, from that aspect, it is impressive. But,
Yeah. So,
I mean, the joke I heard a long time ago
yeah.
about Rabbit in the Hat, just get back to that real quick,
Okay. Yeah.
it was on this old TV show. Like, I can't even remember the name of the show. I don't even remember the premise. I just remember that there was an old magician who was like the master. He was like people talked about him and Houdini in the same breath, but called Houdini an amateur compared to him.
Yeah.
And he goes, it was animation, but he goes, it's just such a throwaway line. The one trick I could never master was to pull a hat from a rabbit. I just want to see that done.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I'm a fan of deconstruction. That would impress the hell out of me. I have no idea how you do it with a live rabbit and actually make it, you know, not have PETA on your ass. But it would be cool.
Oh, let me say this one quick thing about rabbits. If you produce a rabbit, do not produce it, do not pull it up by its ears. Grab it by the scruff of the neck.
Oh, thank you.
Just for what?
That's useful, actually.
Yeah, I have seen a few magicians who I would say, oh, that's great magic. Then they produce a rabbit, pulling it up by the ears, and fuck you. Really, fuck you.
Yeah. I think part of that's just because the, like, you know, when you think about grabbing a rabbit, that's just kind of the mental image that comes to mind.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I can understand, yeah, cruelty to animals. And it's
Well,
one of those things, it's just a matter of ignorance, I think, because you don't know that it's hurting the animal.
Well, here's the simple way. If you were to be pulled up, let's say a giant came over and was going to pull you up. Would you want him to grab you by your ears or by the scruff of the neck?
I'd just rather not be picked up, but...
Right, but you have no say in the matter, you know?
Yeah, obviously. No, I get what you're saying. It's definitely something to be true. I'm just saying, it's you know, just that's the mental image you have when of pulling a rabbit out of anything. No, but I just, like I said, all right, Maxwell, here we go. You can talk as much tech talk as you want. Is there any conceivable way to pull a hat out of a rabbit?
How big of the hat? How big is the rabbit?
Just a normal-sized hat that you could actually wear on your head, and a normal rabbit that you could actually find, you know, in a shop.
Let me say this. The easiest, I would say you would want to produce a collapsible top hat.
Okay.
Because when it's collapsed, you could, in theory, hide it behind a rabbit. If you're holding the rabbit by the scruff of the neck, just straight behind it, the angles will be hell on you. You'll have to work on the angles, but just reach up between the rabbit's legs. Oh, what a show that'll be. But if you reach up and just pull the collapsible top hat straight down and pop it open, you could do it that way.
Okay, I just think that'd be the funniest shit ever. Just you've seen it, like, you'd have to do it with a foreign accent too, just because, just like with that, you know, Eastern European accent.
Yeah.
You've seen many acts where the magicians pull the hats out of the rabbits. I can do this trick too. And then you do it like, what do you mean I have it wrong?
No, that is the way that I do it. I was going to quickly get back to Dove and other
sure.
stuff.
Sorry, it's just something I wanted to bring up because it's something that I thought about.
I just want to say this real quick. In my personal opinion, you should do separate manipulation acts. Because here's the thing, as a magician, hell, even looking at it from a layman's perspective, I do not want to sit down and see a 10-minute act where you produce doves, cards, thimbles, and cigarettes. You know, you're doing too much in the one act. Separate it into separate acts. If you only have a 2-minute cigarette act, do 2 minutes. You know, don't throw it in to make a 12-minute act. And because of that, once the Dove act is over, then you'll get the 8. Well, you'll probably get 6 or 7, because it takes a little while for them to forget about the animals. But
Yeah.
if it's a separate act, you have a better shot at getting the applause that you would normally get, if that makes sense.
Let me ask you about this. There's one other place I want to go after this, but how important do you think flow is between tricks?
Well,
Like, do you think that it should, okay, I do trick A, then I finish, then I chat to the audience a little bit while I'm getting trick B ready? Or do you think it should be in that, I've seen a lot of French magicians do it, in that I'm doing trick A as trick B is being set up, and I finish trick A and begin trick B immediately right after the prestige of trick A?
well, let me say this. Unless you're doing illusions, you should not be setting up during your act. If you're doing illusions, then you do an illusion, you come out in front of the curtain, the curtains close, you do a 5-minute act of whatever, then the curtains open up while people off stage have set up the next illusion.
Well, no, I'm talking about, like, alright, say you're doing, you know, a card trick, you know, producing decks of cards from what it looks like an empty box or whatever,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And while you're doing that trick, like, I saw a guy do this.
Actually, you just gave me an idea. That would not be too bad of a trick. Just take a card box, pull out 15 different decks of cards from the one card case.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, so you're doing on stage, you have an empty card box and you're pulling out all these different cards.
Yeah.
And then while that's happening, someone's wheeling on you know, apparatus or whatever, a box that you go in and you come out of from the other side of the stage. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff as I go here. Do you think it's better to finish the card act and then go, okay, now let me introduce my next piece, and then go into the box? Or do you think it's just more impressive to finish the card act and then run across stage and go into the box? Not any setup for it at all. Just the end of trick A flows into the beginning of trick B.
I think it really depends, because either way it could work well. I think it's really, if you're going to stop and talk to the audience about the next trick, you need something to say. I mean, I do the Miser's Dream in my show. That's where you produce $50 from the air, from spectators in the audience, toss it into the pail.
Okay.
I have not found suitable patter to lead into it. So what I would do would be, I would do another trick, grab the pail, then start to do the trick. It's really, because here's the thing. For example, I don't really do the linking rings anymore.
Yeah.
I do on occasion, but I know
Penn hates the linked rings.
Yeah. Well, I have suitable patter for it. So if I were doing the Miser's Dream, I would finish it, then go into the patter that leads into the linking rings. Mm-hmm. It's really, if you're just saying, all right, and now from the mystical east, I bring you the Vanishing Cabinet. No, don't do that. That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
All right. No, it's just one of those things I was just wondering about, because, like, it's interesting to see it. Like, it's impressive to see it as just one giant thing that flows together really quick with, you know, no introduction of the next piece of the act.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it loses some of the stage presence and the gravitas. And unless the illusions themselves are incredibly impressive, it doesn't quite seem as entertaining.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, as I said, if you don't have... Here's the thing. I like for my pattern to build up, tell a joke, then go into the magic. And if my patter is just, well, now I'm going to do the miser's dream for you, I'm not going to say that, you know. What I do is, honestly, if I'm in a place where, if I'm in a place where I have to bring in a boombox and do the music myself, I won't say this. But if I'm in like a theater, I'll just say, Maestro, music, please, then get into it. So, you know, it's really just based on, if you don't have good enough patter, don't do patter to lead into it.
Okay.
And one
other
other
like, actually,
thing,
to go into Prestige a little bit, that was one of
Yeah.
the interesting things that was brought up. You had Christian Bale's character, who was incredibly good at the art of illusion,
Mhm.
but he had no stage presence at all. And then you had Hugh Jackman's character that was okay,
yeah,
but he really needed someone else to be creating the tricks, but he was an amazing stage presence.
basically they're Penn and Teller, but separated.
Yeah, and that's what I like about Penn and Teller is, actually, you know, to be perfectly honest, I find I am always really interested in whatever Teller's doing. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay, Penn, finish talking so now we can see the cool stuff.
Speaking, I forgot to send you the link to Penn Sunday School where he interviewed Teller.
Oh, it's alright. I'm sure I can find it online. Or
Yeah.
something.
Well,
not just...
for our listeners, check that out. It's really good.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the description. No, but anyway, actually, did you listen to it? Did he go into how they did a lot of the tricks, or did you?
Well, it was mainly talking about Teller did Macbeth on Broadway or something like that, and he combined magic into it. And they were also talking about one of Teller's mentors. That there isn't a lot of stuff explained, except there's one or two things that are explained that very few magicians do nowadays anyway, so it won't spoil anything.
Alright, I'll check it out then.
But
nah, it's just...
personally, I don't care if they spoil magic.
Well, that's because you already know how to do it, though.
Well, actually, if we may get sidetracked onto the Masked Magician, I really enjoy watching it, because before that, I wasn't into illusions at all, and just seeing the explanation, it really... Okay, the performance is horrible, and that's what I talk about in my review of it, but honestly, I have fun watching the explanations, and even though the performance, I want to say it's mediocre, but I think it's slightly less than mediocre, but I still have fun with it. And the only thing I hate about the Masked Magician series is that damn announcer.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
So damn sexist, and
I didn't think about that part, but it's been years since I've seen it. I just remember he had that, from what I remember, it was that annoying trailer voice, in a world. But it was like, now he does this part.
Yeah.
And it's really complicated.
Except it really isn't.
And that's the thing, like, so many magic tricks, that's part of why I don't like figuring it out, because, one, it makes me feel really stupid that I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I have that all the time where I figure out how someone did a trick, I'm like, oh, damn it. Now I feel dumb, because that was really obvious.
Well, but here's the thing. If you figure out one, someone could use the exact same method and just do a different effect with it, and you'd still be fooled by it.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just, like I said, I don't like ruining it for me, because, once again, I watch it for the performance aspect, for the stage appeal, and that's why I don't think it works as well on TV.
Yeah.
I watch it for the stage appeal, depending on the show. Let me
Ooh, that's a really great phrase, stage appeal.
Yeah.
Huh.
I watch it for the performance, for the, the visual art of theater, and theater. And I don't like to know how it's done. Just like when I've done stage work, I've done stagecraft, so I know how a lot of things are done on there, and it's ruined a lot of performances for me, because I find myself sitting there in the audience going, okay, that's a flat, that's a platform, they've probably got 4 or 5 bars on it, so like instead of taking in the visual aesthetic of the stage presented to me, I'm now looking at, just kind of I'm looking at it from a blueprint aspect, and I don't like that as much anymore.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't know anything about lighting, and I'm still impressed by those.
Yeah. Well, I guess the same thing could be said about magic, because I know too damn much about methodology, and basically my whole review show is just, I want good magic, and even though I know the method, I can still be entertained by it, even though I won't be fooled. And here's the thing, something that I would say, oh, that's stupid, you can obviously tell the method. Someone who doesn't know magic will go, oh, wow, how did he do that? What?
Yeah, that's the thing, is you were talking about that with the yeah, you were talking about that with the trick that I've been most impressed by recently, and going back to August now is still recently for me.
Yeah.
Was Teller making like 20 goldfish just appear into a bowl. I thought that was the coolest thing ever, just from a visual side of it, because I have no idea how he did it, but 2, it just looks awesome.
Well, it does.
And that's the thing, is when I talked to you about that briefly beforehand, you go, oh yeah, I know how he did that. I don't know how he got the fish, but I know how he did it. And I was like, don't tell me. For the love of God, do not tell me, because I will hate you forever.
Well, it's just that I've used the same method of concealing the goldfish, and I wasn't expecting the goldfish production, but, because I know about it, because I know what to expect, I can figure out, okay, here's how I would do it, which, honestly, I really don't care how they actually do it, because if I can figure out what's my method, it's the same idea as a layman, where if something is flat on the stage and there's an escape, they'll go, oh, trapdoor. Yeah. No, it's a trap in the trunk. But no. I know how it's done. It's not the right method, but if the layman has any out, they'll take it. If they're looking for one.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, and it does. It's just, I don't care how I could know how it's done. I just don't want to, because, like I said, I like the art of it on stage. That's part of what I like about comedy so much, is no matter how much comedy you watch, good comedy will always be good comedy, because there's no trick to it. There's no, there's no conceit. It's all just a guy telling a story or telling a joke. So it works on its own completely. And like, you can wonder, all right, now how's he really working the audience in this way? You can look at those aspects, but it's very, very shallow, because there's not a lot different between comedian to comedian, and that doesn't matter, because they have infinite number of stories to tell, and they're all, and some of them are funny, some of them aren't, and some of them work, some of them don't.
I just sent you a quick message.
Oh, no, that's fine. Go ahead. I'm gonna talk for a minute then.
Okay.
Anyway, no, I like comedy for that aspect, and I like magic, but I know full well that I can't just enjoy magic on the same level, because it once you know how it's done, you can't love it anymore, because, or, well, no, that's unfair. Once you know how a trick is done, you can't enjoy it the same way you did before you knew. When you don't know how it's done, you're in awe, you're impressed, you're like, oh my, wow, that's so, how did he do it? You're sitting there, you're speculating, your mind's racing for explanations, and you can't come up with any, and that's amazing. But when you know how magic's done, you're like, oh, well, this is this method and stuff. And that's certainly fine, because then you can respect it from the technical aspect, the skill, but you can't enjoy it from the viewership, from the viewer perspective ever again, in my mind. Or if you can, it's very, very rare. And that'll actually, I think that brings it into a good point to get to Penn and Teller's Fool Us.
Yeah.
Which oh, you're back, good. Which I find to be a fantastic idea for a show, and I have no idea why it got canceled in Britain, and I have no idea why it's not live or why it's not in the States.
I believe last thing that I heard was months ago that I believe they were trying to get it on over in like the Ukraine or something like that. So honestly, if they do another one, I want to see it. So
yeah. Like, let me ask you this, Maxwell.
Yeah.
If they were to come to the States with it, and you wouldn't have to, go bankrupt to go try out for it, would you be on the show? Or would you try to get on the show, I should say?
You see, that's... If you fool them, you will... Here's the thing. The folks who fooled Penn and Teller, from what I've heard, they got a lot more bookings because of it.
Yeah.
And it's just... There's a different mindset of fool the public, fool another magician.
Yeah.
And my thing would be, I have one effect that I've been thinking about. It's an effect called any card at any number. And every method out there, you don't do what you claim you do. Here's the thing, the effect, in theory, should be you call out any card and you call out any number from 1 to 52. And that card is at that number.
Oh,
it's
okay,
all
cool.
up to the spectator's decision.
Alright.
And there's two different methods, right? I'm blanking on one of them, because I have a completely different method that I'm thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Well, we don't have to talk about the method, though.
Well, it's okay. It's a quick thing. The method, one of the methods is, during the trick, you stack the deck. So that you know exactly where the Ace of Clubs is. You stack it so that the Ace of Clubs is at the 20th position. Let's say they call out 15. You then have to secretly move 5 cards from the top to the bottom so that the Ace of Clubs is at the 15th position.
Okay. That
didn't give away too much, did it?
No, that makes sense. It's just a change and a shuffle, yeah.
Right.
So that's the way that you've seen it done, not the way you would do it?
I have a different method. If I were to go onto the show, though, I would do my damnedest to make them think that I was using a stacked deck.
And see, that's the problem with this show, is a lot of people are, throwing things into their act in order to fool them that magicians would look for.
Right.
And that's a problem for the format of the show, which, I mean, it's an understandable thing, because obviously you want the publicity.
You want to win. So.
Yeah, you want the publicity, you want to win, you want that. And that's the thing that you shouldn't do, but everyone with, 2 marbles in their brain would think to do.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, Penn called him on it once, and I was like, damn.
Which person?
It was a 2-person act. I don't really remember much about it, but he goes, "Wait a minute, did you guys do the move to throw us off?"
They were dressed as Victorians.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and Penn and Teller claimed that they
deck switch, I believe.
A deck switch, yeah. Whereas, here's the thing: Penn and Teller were close enough. Those two should not have fooled him, because I'm gonna give this away, if I may.
Sure.
Instead of switching the deck, they added to the deck.
Oh.
And even though it looked like a deck switch, they were just adding to it.
Okay.
Penn and Teller, they should have... they shouldn't. They were close enough to it. I would have given it to them, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas I think it's different if the trick did not involve a deck switch or adding cards. If they used a completely different method, I would feel great about giving it to them, because you added that in just for Penn and Teller, just to throw them off the scent.
Yeah, but that's the thing,
because
is you're not supposed
it was
to
so
do that.
close, though. Go ahead.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is I disagree with it being okay to do that, because you're not, at that point, you're not really doing the trick. You're doing a thing to throw them from the real trick. So they what could have happened is they could have honestly figured out the real way you were doing it, but what you just did threw them off because it looked like you were doing it this way instead.
Right.
Which isn't a legitimate, in my mind, isn't a legitimate way to do it.
I will say this. The method that I would use to do the any card at any number would use 2 decks of cards. And because one theory is you stack the deck, because they would ask, let's see the decks of cards. My reasoning would be, well, there's only a limited number of methods. If you saw either deck, you would know immediately what it was.
Mm.
You know, and that's the only... Even if I didn't try and throw them off the scent, just because there are multiple methods where if you looked at the deck, it would be a dead giveaway. I think that they should have to make the guess without looking at them. At least, because it could be a stacked deck, you could have a gimmick deck that you do stuff with, you know. It's just, for something like the one that I'm thinking about, I think that if they saw the deck, either one, it would be a dead giveaway. And, that reminds me, there was one guy, I don't recall the full effect, it was a card trick. I don't know if you remember this one. He had a box, and Penn and Teller said, I think you have another deck in that box. And the guy just lifted it up, and there was a card in there saying no. Do you remember that one?
No, but that's funny.
And that might have been slightly throwing them off the scent, but it was a great way to reveal, no, you're wrong, you know?
Well, like that, I don't... See, it's in this funky area like so many things
Yeah.
in Magic are, because clearly there are things that magicians do put on stage to throw the audience members off that are trying to guess how they're doing it.
Yeah.
So in that aspect, it's okay if it's there the whole time. What I don't like is when they put in a move that they would never do,
Right, yeah.
specifically to throw off Penn and Teller.
Right.
You know.
But
I do think it's a great format for a show, because honestly, ideally, I should say, what you should be getting is an entire show where everybody's bringing on their closer. You know.
Yeah. Well,
Which
their show. What is it? There's actually a name for it. Keep talking. The name will hit me.
Okay, well, I'm going to call it closer for right now until it does hit you. You should get a show of, everybody bringing their A game, bringing their best, and that's usually what they close their act with, because, you don't want to start your act with your best. That would be disappointing.
Yeah.
No,
actually, if I may talk about that for just a quick second.
Sure.
There are 2 schools of thought on how a magic show should go. Let's say you're going to do 5 tricks, okay?
Yeah.
One thought is that you start with your second best and end with your best. Start them off with a really strong effect, then it goes down to good effects, but then it closes with the very best.
Okay. The
other theory is, because you have 5, you start with the 5th strongest and work your way up. So
yeah. Actually, I'm going to bring it into comedy just for a second. Louis C.K., who is one of my favorite comedians, he adopted a method of doing his act where he would come out on stage at the beginning of a tour and start with his closer from the last tour he did. All right?
Ah.
So but otherwise he would scrub everything else out of his act except for the closer. So he would start with his strongest stuff, and he would build all brand new material from that point on that he would gather throughout the rest of the tour, and then when he was going to start his next one, he would drop it all and start with the closer. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you did magic in that way...
that's it. Signature effect.
Okay, yeah. If you did magic in that way, where you started with your closing act from the last time, then you went with all brand new material as you went around a tour, which I don't think many magicians do tours anymore. But if you went around doing, just all brand new effects, starting with your closer each act, that would be certainly impressive. But I think it works in a different way for magic because you do have that signature bit, and oftentimes it's not just one bit, So with magic, I think people not only want to see your new stuff, but they want to see what you're best known for.
Right.
And it's one of the few things where I say you should kind of, or not should, it's one of the things where it's okay if you kind of only do or if you always do a certain number of things, because as long as you're the only one doing them, as long as you invented the technique, let's say, or the idea, then it's impressive. If you're just copying someone else's, of course not. But, you get what I'm saying there?
Yeah.
Okay. That's just something that's worth bringing up real quick.
Talking about inventing tricks.
Yeah.
Just a thing that I've been working on for a while now is a variation of egg, lemon, orange, canary, which I'll tell you what the effect is. You have I would use a parakeet instead of a canary, but you have a parakeet inside of a cage. You vanish it, then you vanish an egg, then a lemon. Have you seen this effect before?
No.
Okay. Then it comes down to the orange, and it really depends on the variation.
Wait a minute. Wait. When it comes down to the orange, do you open the orange, take out the lemon, then open the lemon, take out the parakeet?
Take out the egg, then the parakeet. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you have.
Yes, I have seen that before.
Here's my big problem with it, is that no matter what version you do, the orange never vanishes at all. And let's say you're doing the vanish, the parakeet is always the same way, a devil's handkerchief. And if you want to know what that is, Google it.
Thank you.
Well, I know you aren't, but...
No, I want to say thank you for not explaining it.
Oh, okay. If you vanish the egg and the lemon barehanded, which is without any cover at all, then you're getting down to the orange, then no matter what you do, you're pretending that it's too big for you to palm it away. And you're revealing that because you can't palm the orange, revealing that you had to palm the egg and the lemon for the vanish.
Mm-hmm.
If you use a foulard, a giant hanky, if you use that and vanish the egg and the lemon that way, then you become the dumb sap who, really, you have a 36-inch handkerchief that completely covers the orange, and you can't vanish it.
Well, the problem with vanishing orange is it's going to look like you have two oranges, one of which has all these things in it already.
Well, here's the thing. You should know that already.
Yeah,
because
and that's the
it's
thing,
out in the open the entire time.
I think the way to do it, if I may,
go ahead.
is to cut, or the way to do it in an impressive way that might not have been seen before, is okay, you got first you vanish the parakeet, then the egg, then the lemon, then you're left with the orange. You go, okay, now I know what you're thinking. Everything's in this orange and I'm not really going to make it disappear. You're wrong. You pull out a knife, you cut part of the orange open so that you can see it's an actual orange.
Yeah.
Then you vanish it, and like you ask for, I don't know, let's say a letter. Okay, you ask for a letter before you cut the orange. You say, can someone give me a letter of the alphabet? Or a number between 1 and 1,000.
Yeah.
And you cut that into the orange really quickly, so you obviously got to be more proficient with a knife. You cut that into the orange, then you make the orange disappear, then you make it reappear. It still has the number on it, and then you produce
basically it's a signed orange that vanishes then reappears somewhere else.
Yeah. Would that be impressive to you? Would that be a good trick?
Actually, you're kind of talking about what I'm planning on doing.
Yes!
Except not a signed orange. That's my only problem with it.
Doing something to show that the orange is the same orange, you know?
Well, here's the thing. I think because people have seen it before, just the fact that you vanish the orange should be great applause. And
yeah.
Here's the thing. Because you vanish the parakeet in a handkerchief, then after you vanish the orange, you pull out the quote-unquote same. It's a different one. You have to have it loaded into another one. You do a switch. Anyway, you pull out the same handkerchief, and then you have the orange appear inside of it, and you mime picking up 4 things from the air, tossing them into the handkerchief. You pull out the orange, then you reach in and, what? There's nothing inside of the handkerchief. Then it's, wait, you don't think? Then you cut open the orange, where there's the lemon, where there's the egg. Then you crack the egg and the parakeet goes into the cage. So.
Alright. Yeah, I just think that the signed aspect of it would prove that you don't have, or, well, not necessarily prove, because obviously you would have, but it would show that it would make it harder to believe that you have everything else inside the orange.
Right. Yeah, because this here was talking about innovation.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say how I came about that idea, if I may.
Oh, sure.
The way that I came about that is just by watching every variation that I could on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Watch every version you can. See where... Because every version, the orange never vanishes. And it just becomes... Well, you're giving away whatever method you're using for the vanish of the rest. And it becomes... Well, if you're using a handkerchief or a paper bag, you can actually vanish it. You know, if it's barehanded, you know, you can actually cup your hands to hide an orange, which I tried this months ago. And basically, it's just, if it can be hidden behind the hands, it can be vanished. Then it just becomes, well, because no one's vanished it before, you should get big applause for it, instead of just a laugh of, that magician's a dumbass for not being able to vanish something.
I'm going to say this, I wouldn't be as impressed by the vanish of the orange just because, like, even knowing everything I do about magic, I haven't watched that trick a billion times.
Right.
So, I wouldn't be as impressed by that because I wouldn't realize until now. Before now, I wouldn't have realized that no one ever makes the orange disappear.
Well, but here's the other thing. You're expecting it to disappear anyway. You vanish a parakeet, you vanish an orange, you vanish a lemon. Parakeet, egg, then lemon. You're expecting the orange to vanish.
Yeah, but they don't. Yeah, I'll give you that. I'm just saying, as someone that's watched a lot of magic, I don't think I would appreciate it until this point. I don't think I would appreciate it because I just haven't noticed that no one makes the orange disappear.
Right.
That being said, yeah, you're right. It should disappear. It would go along better with the performance.
It builds up to the vanish. So
yeah. But what I'm saying is, I don't think people would be as impressed about that because they don't have the realization that no one makes it disappear, as I think making it disappear with a signature would.
Right. Yeah.
Because then you have, okay, that is definitely the same damn orange. Actually, you know, don't put number, don't put letter, because then you have a finite set. Because no one's going to shout out 6,952,000 because that's just not going to happen.
A number from 1 to 10.
Yeah, like, you don't want to do those because then you have finite sets. What you want is, like, a name or a color. Yeah. Well, no, not color. You want something that anything could be shouted out.
Right.
So that way it does come, okay, he definitely doesn't have 2 oranges.
Yeah.
That being said, I have no idea how you'd have a, you know, hollow orange that you're able to carve into, but that's your problem, not mine.
Well, let me say this, because some card tricks are based on the idea of a signed card, except you must use a duplicate.
Yeah.
And for that, you tear off the corner of a card, just switch the corners so that the spectator is holding on to the corner that will match the duplicate card. So it works as signing it. So you could actually cut off a bit of the orange and just do a switch, hand them the other piece of it, then just, does it fit? Does it match? It does? Good, then watch this.
Okay.
So that you can still get the switch, and yet in their minds it should be, that's the same orange.
I gotcha. I was just speculating about that part, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like from what I was thinking, at first I was thinking, okay, if you cut a slice out of the orange and you see it's, a full orange.
Yeah.
And then you manage to bring it on stage and it's still a full orange, but but you're pulling all the stuff out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those weird things. I'm not exactly sure. I think the signature, carving a name onto it.
Well, that's
is probably
definitely stronger, yes.
Yeah.
Except that you still need to, the signature must be on the gimmick to orange.
Yeah,
Then you need to load it into something else, which becomes a lot more hassle. So
yeah, that's the thing, is great magic requires due diligence.
Yeah.
There are no easy, fantastic magic tricks, otherwise everyone would have already done them.
Well, actually, if you buy stuff at a magic shop, most of that is really good and requires no work whatsoever.
Well, no, I'm talking about like stuff that innovates the industry. There's no easy way to do that stuff.
Right.
Like the stock tricks, the pre-made stuff, that's of course easy, and it's supposed to look at least kind of good.
Well, except that most of that stuff is for the birthday party magician.
Yeah, I got you.
Or the absolute beginner, which,
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a beginner buying stock, but if you're, if you've got a show, I better not see you in a magic shop.
Well, technically, there are some things that have to be replaced. There are gimmicks, which there is a difference between a gimmick and a prop. Like, think of a gimmick as the same thing as a prop, except that you never see it.
Okay.
Like a mouth coil.
I got you. I
it's something where it's prefabricated. You buy it by like 20 to a package, and you'd have to go back and keep buying. Yeah.
No, like you're talking about a tool. I'm talking about, let me buy my trick again.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't see the magician I just saw on stage buying his bouquet of flowers that magically appear from the wand in the magic shop. That's
honestly, that's the only way that you're gonna get it, though.
Well, no, you can make your own.
If I may, if any magicians are listening to this, and you use flowers, do not use spring flowers or feather flowers, because there are craft shops out there. Take your spring flowers, go to the craft shop, buy a dozen roses, add the red to the inside of the spring flower and the green foliage for the rest of it, so it looks like a real bouquet that you produce.
Okay. And that's the thing, is I think you should, even if it's kind of an atypical trick, like, oh, here's flowers for my wand, I think it should be something that you make yourself, not something that you purchase. Or at least something that someone in your employ, one of your stagehands, is making. I shouldn't see someone that works for you, well, obviously I wouldn't know, but I shouldn't see, you shouldn't be getting your acts you shouldn't be getting the elements of your acts from other people. Like, you shouldn't be purchasing them from other people. But that actually brings me into something I kind of wanted to talk about.
Okay.
There's a big debate, and I know Mr. Stoner here in town, he owns a novelty and magic shop.
Yeah.
He hates these people because he's not one of them, but street versus stage.
Oh, God. Oh.
Yeah. He hates street magicians.
Let me say this. There is a difference between a street magician and a busking magician. There is a difference. The magician who does busking, you can compare him to the guy out on the street playing guitar with his case open. The busker will do magic and pass the hat. He will put on a show. The street magician, we're talking Chris Angel, David Blaine, and kids who want to be like them. And you're really going up to... Are you really wanting to go up to someone and... Let me put it to you. If some greasy, snotty 16-year-old kid walked up to you while you're walking down the street and says, "Here, pick a card," would you pick a card, or would you just keep walking?
I like magic enough that I'd want to encourage him to keep trying, so I probably would pick a card, but that's just me.
Well, but for a average person.
Probably not, no.
You're going up to someone and invading their space.
Yeah.
Just to do pick a card, any card, or do any of these stupid tricks. But I do have to say this, though. Even though I don't like David Blaine or Chris Angel, I don't know them personally, obviously. I don't like their magic or their performance style. The good thing is that those snotty, greasy kids, if they stay in magic, they will learn about the good magicians.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll slowly become good magicians and will slowly go, "Oh God, why did I like Chris Angel?" You know?
And that's actually kind of where I started. I liked Chris Angel when I was younger. He wasn't my introduction to magic or anything. He was one of the few people that had a show with magic in it on. So I enjoyed parts of that.
Yeah.
There was one trick, I'm not exactly sure how he did it. I'm thinking it had to be subliminal messages, because there's seriously no other way to do it.
Well, there probably is.
Well, no, that I can think of
for
the format. Because it was in a movie theater.
Okay.
I was in a movie theater, and it was a preview that came on before the movie advertising the Mind Freak show. And he goes, "Think of a card, any card." And there are a lot of quick cuts. And then by the end, yeah, he pulled out, I think it was, Queen of Diamonds or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even remember the card.
He riffled through the pack. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I can tell you exactly how that works. It is not 100% accurate.
Yeah, and obviously it's not supposed to be. It's just supposed to get some people.
Yeah.
But I will say it got me, and the way I could think of doing that is subliminal messaging.
Well, subliminal messaging is bullshit. It doesn't work.
Sometimes.
Well, here's the thing. Do you mind if I tell you how that trick is done?
No, that one, because it's not particularly impressive.
Okay. The secret is that you see the queen a split second longer than the rest of the cards.
No, and that is a subliminal message. I'm talking about from the from film perspective. Subliminal messaging is like you ever see Fight Club?
No.
All right. Well, in Fight Club, here's the best example. In Fight Club, you have to watch it on DVD, not on television.
Yeah.
Every so often, a frame of pornography will come up. And
really?
When I say frame, it's there are 24 frames every 24 frames, 24 pictures for every second of video, okay?
Yeah.
And what they did is they went in and replaced one of those frames, 1/24th of a second, with a picture of pornography as opposed to a picture of normal movie, right?
I have to ask this. Was it hardcore or softcore?
I don't know, because you don't see it long enough. You just know that it happens because you suddenly wait a minute. But,
yeah.
But yeah, it's, that being said, at the end of the movie, there are some buildings blowing up, and, the camera's pulling back and everything, and then, for one frame, climax. Just funny enough.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, so subliminal messaging from film, that is considered a subliminal message, because you're seeing it for a quarter of a second longer, so it's putting it in your head to think of that card.
In that case, I'll give that to you.
Yeah, that's I didn't notice that he lingered on that card longer as far as the shot goes.
Yeah.
but I was pretty sure that it was, you know, quick frame or auditory subliminal messaging is harder to do, but it's something that used to happen a lot.
Yeah.
It was actually outlawed on television because cigarette companies were doing it. Smoke.
Yeah.
Family Guy made fun of it, but still.
Wait, what do you mean tobacco industries are subliminally advertising to us? In case folks listening to this don't know, I am a habitual smoker. I smoke pipes and cigars all the time.
That's
so
cool.
Now you get the joke.
It's classy. I like cigars less so, but pipes are cool. No lie, I did consider smoking a pipe and not smoking tobacco, just smoking spices.
Okay, and by spices you mean actual spices and not spices some slang for pot.
No, I meant actual spices.
Okay.
Just like put some cinnamon in a pipe and smoke it. That just sounds amazing.
If I may just get off onto a quick tangent here.
Sure.
I don't see the purpose of pot. I don't. I really don't. It just confuses the hell out of me.
Why?
Here's the thing. I don't care. It should be a legal product. It really should. If you want to smoke it, go ahead. You know, just when it becomes legal, be of age. You know.
Yeah, of course. No, I don't get what, I'm trying to understand what you're saying against it. Excuse me.
It's like my same problem with alcohol. Except that I can slightly understand alcohol. I smoke tobacco for the taste. And nicotine does not change the chemicals in your brain. You don't get buzzed or anything like that from nicotine, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Whereas alcohol, it changes you. Pot, it changes you. You can still be stone cold sober and yet smoke tobacco, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
the
and that's
mental
the thing is,
faculties aren't changed.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it's people looking for that change for whatever reason. It's
Right.
that escape from reality. And actually, I was in an ethics class, and the professor was asking why people like to smoke pot and do drugs, and it was the biggest druggy class I've ever been in. Like, it was so bad. It was a long 3-hour course, and we got a break, hour and a half in.
Yeah.
And every time this one kid that sat in front of me would come back, and I'd get a little bit of a contact high just because of how bad I could smell it on him.
Yeah.
But anyway, the professor was asking why do people smoke weed or do drugs, and the guy goes, because it's an escape from reality. And she goes, well, why would you want to escape reality? I go, because reality sucks. Haven't you, anytime something bad happens, people always tell me, welcome to the real world. Why would I want to live there?
Yeah. You see, my main problem with pot is just that as a pipe smoker, I always say I smoke pipes and cigars. Tobacco pipe, I always add that in because
unfortunately you have that negative stigma about it that you have to overcome. But yeah, I agree with you. It's not the it's not the biggest problem for me. I don't mind people that smoke weed just as long as they don't do stupid shit on it. And of course, people do stupid shit on weed just like people do stupid shit on alcohol.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, but I think overpopulating prisons with people that just were smoking weed is really dumb.
Yeah.
Why is this guy getting let out on bail even though he's a 3-time rapist? Oh, we ran out of cell space.
Yeah.
Really?
We have to keep the potheads in line.
Yeah. Come on now. That being said, they are kind of shooting themselves in the foot because, in in Washington State, they finally make it a legal thing to have as long as you're not smoking it in public. And what does everybody do the night it becomes legal? Smokes up underneath the Space Needle. Thanks a lot, guys. Way to be mature.
Yeah. Actually, talking about pot does bring me to one magic effect.
Sure.
Which, it's the Phantom cigarette. It goes by different names. It's where you pretend to roll a cigarette and pretend to light it, and you're actually smoking a cigarette at that point. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. The thing is that I love
Like you're like, wait, are you pretending to roll a cigarette, or like are you pantomiming a cigarette, or are you actually rolling?
You pantomime rolling a cigarette. Most
And then
people then pull out a box of matches, strike it, come up, and actually puff on a cigarette.
Okay, that's cool.
You see, this here, because I don't want to be associated with pot, I have changed the presentation slightly, because if you roll up anything, you always get the snide comment of, oh, I know what he's rolling up, you know. So what I do is I pretend that I have a cigarette pack, hit it on the back of the hand, come up, pull the imaginary cigarette from the pack, then I go into the lighting and have a real cigarette.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. That's a good way to take that trick back.
Yeah.
All right. But we were talking a little bit about street magic, and we kind of got off of it. See, like, I don't mind when kids are doing it. Like, there's a guy I follow on YouTube a little bit just because I like to look at the tricks, but I don't particularly care for street magicians overall because...
I don't think there's a lot of good street magic, actually.
What I like about it, let me put this much for it, street bar magic, I like that it's right in your hands, so I think there's some skill required on that end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's that up-close nature does give it some better sell, I suppose, but overall I don't think it's particularly good because it cheapens the medium a little bit to me.
Well, here's the thing. We already have a branch of magic called close-up magic, you know, and, you know, that's where the audience gets to feel the props. The magic happens in their hands.
Yeah.
You know? But you don't have to go out onto the street wearing torn-up blue jeans and a t-shirt to do it. You know?
That being said, I would really like to see someone, even though you said he was trying, this gave me a mental image, and I kind of want to see him do it now. It's like, imagine Lance Burton, you know, in the tux and everything, doing street magic. That would be really funny.
Yeah.
Not that he would, but I just think, like, if he did, like, those giant scale tricks, but did it like it was street magic, that would be really cool.
Oh, I should say this here. The one thing that I really liked about the Chris Angel specials, well, TV show, was when he would do an illusion with supposedly ungimmicked things. Like, he did the impaled illusion where he either put himself or a girl onto a metal fence.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And as an illusion, I like it. But it's just... Here's the thing. I don't particularly like close-up magic. And street magic is close-up magic, except you're really invading someone else's space at that point.
Yeah, and I get that. I like the close-up aspect of it, provided that you're actually doing something of skill. Because that is one of the things with magic, is when it's on a stage, it's far away, so it's easier to get away with some of the, you know, sleight of hand and stuff. And if a trick doesn't go off perfectly, it's okay because you're far enough away that you can adjust your act to fit that.
Yeah.
When it's happening up close, when it's happening literally in front of your face, then the trick has to be a lot more fine-tuned, and you don't get a second chance. You don't get to work with the trick in the middle of it if something goes wrong, if that makes sense.
Well, I guess it depends what trick, because something
yeah,
like...
obviously, but I'm just...
something like...
And one other thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
One other thing real quick. I also like that it makes it very accessible. That it's coming to you. That part of it's cool. Let me put it this way. I think it would be great if there was a close-up magic bar. Or a street magic bar, rather.
Well, here's the thing. There was... I know of 2 different bars. They're both closed now. One was called the Tomfoolery, in which Tom Mullica, who folks know as the cigarette-eating guy, which You might have seen that. I don't know. It's actually a great routine. He had a bar where he would perform at the bar for customers. And there was another one, I believe, in like Aspen or somewhere like that.
Mm.
And if I recall correctly, John Denver owned it partly.
Okay.
And was since he passed away, a really big Magic fan. And for the life of me, I can't remember that bar, what the name is.
No, it's fine. It's like I think that would be a worthwhile thing.
Yeah.
Provided like there's you got like you have New York for people that want to sing and be on stage because there's Broadway there, and you have L.A. for people that want to act in movies because that's Hollywood. But I mean, there's no town for magic, as it were.
Las Vegas.
Yes and no, but you really go to Vegas for the hookers.
Oh, you do you?
Sorry, I just had to say that as it entered my mind.
Well, Nevada is one of the few states where it is perfectly legal.
Yeah,
except...
well, no, I was talking to one of my subscribers last night, and the last time I went to Vegas, I have no idea if they've cleaned this up since then, but the last time I went to Vegas, there were so many people handing out little business cards with pictures of prostitutes on them that if you looked out at the sidewalk, you could not distinguish pavement from weathered pictures of prostitutes. So, in what world this was the family destination, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But apparently, I was talking to one of our subscribers, hey Blue Dragon 5, if you're listening to this, I don't know, 2 hours in, I could not conceive of how that's the family destination for when I went, because that was totally inappropriate for a 12-year-old to be around. But
well, come on, the 12-year-old would keep the business card and wank off when he gets back home.
That's exactly what I did.
Wait, did I just say wank off?
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, I've been watching too much British television.
Yeah. Oh no, but anyway, I was talking to Blue Dragon 5 last night, and he said, yeah, actually, when I went to Vegas, there was none of that. I go, oh, well, that's odd. He was actually in a Lance Burton act, and I don't remember this trick. He might have done it when I saw him, but do you know the Corvette disappearing thing?
Oh, I know in one of his. Oh, was it on stage or on a TV special?
Said it was on stage. He said it was on stage.
Well, I know that in one of his TV specials he vanished his car, and that was just for TV. And he also flew in on his car in the same TV special.
That's cool. No, but Blue Dragon 5, I was talking to him, and he's like, he had a T-shirt that says "I disappeared with Lance Burton," where he got to get inside the Corvette and disappear with him. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
And he found out what the method was, I take it.
Yeah, and he said that he was sworn to secrecy, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
Well, I'm not. I want to know how it works.
Well, too bad. If you can beat it out of him, you're more than welcome to.
Really beat it out of him after we were just talking about wanking?
Well, that's your fault for bringing up wanking. I was not going to mention wanking, but you were the one that said, well, the 12-year-old will wank off to him. I'm like, well, thank you, Maxwell, because that's...
You were the one who brought up hookers.
Well, that's because it's Vegas. How can you not talk about Vegas and hookers in the same breath?
Because technically it's illegal to be a prostitute in Vegas.
What?
The other counties, or at least other cities around Vegas, it's perfectly legal. It's just, at least within the city limits of Las Vegas, it's illegal to prostitute yourself, so.
All I know is that the pictures were as gray as the sidewalk at a certain point, because like it wasn't like there was just a couple guys. Every street corner there were guys handing out pictures of prostitutes. Like there were giant rubber bands that had been put around light posts, and people had inserted pictures of prostitutes. Like like the Take One for free guitar lessons. They have those, but for prostitutes. it was ridiculous. I did not realize there were that many prostitutes in the world, much less in Vegas.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, let me ask this. Wouldn't this be great just to have jumbo-sized cards of that, where you can actually tear off one and there's actually a real hooker on the card? Take one, it's free. But it may give you VD.
and it's funny because it rhymes. Anyway, back to magic a little bit. We're getting to that point.
Can we keep talking about hookers?
The gentlemen, magic and hookers.
Oh.
What a fantastic title. See, this is why Milan should have been here. He could have talked about hookers. It would have been fun. I don't know if Milan knows anything about hookers. Hi, Milan!
Well, if you know anything about hookers, well, I think you know what your next geeky gentleman is about.
Nah, actually, our next one's about nostalgia.
The nostalgia of hookers.
I remember this one hooker I had. Oh, it was a good day to be a boy. Back in my youth. What was that? King of the Hill. Yeah, that was it. Where he took his son to a whorehouse. That was terrible.
Actually, sorry to go off on another tangent, but I have to ask this. Because in most of the, at least US, probably the world, being a hooker is illegal. Because it's illegal, if a 15-year-old went to pay a prostitute, would she have sex with a 15-year-old?
It depends on the girl because, you know, at that point it's her decision, assuming she's not being pressured into it. See, that's the thing, is prostitution should be a legal thing, so that way we can regulate it and make sure people aren't being abused.
Yeah.
That and, you know, taxation. Anyway, the thing is, it would totally be up to her discretion, but if she gets busted, she'll not only be in trouble for prostitution, but statutory rape.
Yeah.
So that's, you know, it's I'm guessing there'll be an additional cost.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way. Anyway.
Back to magic.
See, the thing is, we did the My Little Pony video, and somehow that got into discussion about fetishes.
Yeah.
And now we're doing the magic video, part 2, and somehow it's become about prostitution.
Oh.
I don't know how this happened, folks.
Oh, well.
See, look, you got me saying folks, Maxwell.
Sorry. Let me ask this. One of the contestants had a comment on one of your videos about early on when y'all talked about, when one of y'all said BJ. Which one was that?
Oh, that was Rockman LP. Hi, Rockman.
I think he's already turned it off by this point.
Probably. No, I mean, it's an intellectual discussion about prostitutes. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying, yeah, women are whores. That came off more, and that was supposed to be a joke, but it came off really dark.
Oh, we are going to hell.
Oh, I accepted that long ago. I actually invented a dance to celebrate it every time it happens.
Really?
Like, I have a debt of hell. Like, you know how I don't remember what movie it was, but like the guy goes to hell and he's given an alternative, like if he does this then he won't have to go to hell. Like, even if I were to go to hell and be given that alternative, I would still be going to hell afterwards. It would just, it's like when you get multiple life sentences. I have multiple eternal life hell sentences for the things I've said and done.
So once eternity ends, you have a couple more eternities that you have to go through.
Exactly. Anyway, alright, so hell hath no fury, like a magician scorned. Magic, however, I feel like we are kind of getting to a good wrap-up point. I did want to talk about street magic, and yeah, it's one of those things that the street magicians hate stage magicians because, oh, you have to bring everybody into your thing, and you gotta, like, there's all this etiquette and setup, but you can bomb and it's okay, whereas if I bomb, I get made fun of, and yada yada yada, it happens to my face. Like, I've heard street magicians talk about that, and there is a valid point there.
Here's the thing, street magicians, if that's their argument, they have never had a heckler before. I mean, stage magicians get hecklers.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, you can only bomb so many times as a stage magician. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
You probably get one, you know, and a trick can go over poorly, and you can be okay. You know, it's like, oh well, sorry about that. You know, it's complicated, blah blah blah. I'll do something better so you still feel like you're getting your money's worth. If that keeps happening, you're getting booed off the stage.
Yeah.
That being said, street magicians, I mean, it is a little harder in a different respect, because you have to get someone's attention, which does walk a fine line, because you don't want to be super annoying like you were talking about. You don't want to invade someone's space like you were talking about.
Yeah.
But at the same time, once it's in someone's hands, once it's in front of their face, it's a much... I don't want to say better, because that's not the right word. It's a much closer, much more immediate reaction when you fool someone right in front of them. You know?
If it happens in the spectator's hands, it is almost always a stronger trick.
Yeah. I remember I was in it was one of my theater classes that I took in high school, and this kid was doing, you know, just classic coin into a closed bottle trick.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really impressing everybody in the class. And that's one of the few tricks where I think I know how it's done. Just to confirm here, let's say it's done with a penny. Do you like tape a penny to the top of the bottle cap, and then you take one in your hand and slam it down?
I believe it's usually done with a quarter or a $50, and it supposedly goes through either the neck of the bottle or through the base of the bottle.
Yeah.
That's the trick we're talking about?
Yeah. I haven't seen it done with a $50. Obviously, you can glue it to the lid there, but yeah.
Well, if it's done with a $50 or a quarter, more often than not, it's a gimmicked coin.
Oh, okay. That folds or something, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I have a method that I use, which comes straight from Richard Osterland's Mind Mysteries 1, 2, 3, or 4. Mm-hmm. And that is where you use a signed quarter, and it goes into the bottle. So there's no switch for a gimmicked coin.
Okay. No, I'm just I've seen it done. He wasn't using anything bigger than a quarter, which you know, with the right kind of plastic bottle, I still think you could, you know, essentially tape that to the cap, if you're quick enough, and still let people, you know, look at the cap, look inside the bottle, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think street magic has its merits. I think that there's some etiquette that needs to be introduced. Let me put it that way. I don't think you should be invading someone's space or anything like that. I think you should... Let me put it this way. I think street magic works a lot better once you've gathered a crowd.
Well, here's the thing. Then you're starting to talk about busking, which is where you put on like a 10-15 minute show and pass the hat. And that's completely different from street magic. Even though they both happen on the street, street magic is what I would call something that Chris Angel does.
Where he goes up to people. Yeah.
Yeah, whereas a busker...
Hey, excuse me, you got a minute? Yeah.
Whereas a busker sets up, does his act, gets paid.
Well,
street magicians don't get paid. That's one big difference.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. I mean, I've seen street magicians do this where they'll go person to person, and they'll, you know, you obviously stop while you're doing a trick. That being said, it'd be really cool if someone could keep moving while doing a trick. I'm not saying it's impossible, it's just not something I've seen. They go up, they talk to the person, then they do the trick real quick, and then if the person's legitimately impressed, they go, oh my god, and I've noticed that'll stop other people from walking, and they'll sit there and congregate and ask the person to do the trick again or to do another trick, and that'll draw a crowd. Yeah. So that's that fine line. That's where, you know, sure, they can get paid afterward or something like that. It depends. Street magicians traditionally won't get paid, but I like the accessibility of it. I do like that. I like that it makes magic accessible, and that you can prove that it's not just for kids at that point, that you can impress legitimate businessman who's walking down the street that day, or what have you.
Mhm.
So I think there's merit to it, but I will agree there should be a level of etiquette that isn't there.
Yeah.
All right, street magic, stage magic. Now I know you were tempted for the 5-hour video, but is there anything else you really want to talk on, or do you feel comfortable wrapping up here?
Well, how long have we gone?
We're getting close to 3 hours. I was recording for a little bit before we started the actual video, so.
Well, you know what? I was challenged to go over, 3.5 hours?
Yeah.
Do you want to try and go over that limit?
I'm okay with it, but I don't want to feel like we're stretching. I just feel like we've reached kind of a natural place for the conversation to end, so I wanted to do like wrap-ups if you had anything else that you really wanted to get to.
Well, here's the thing. I could do a whole nother podcast about magic with you. So,
Yeah, and I could too. I'm just saying for right now, it seems like we've kind of reached a good stopping point.
Yeah, let's wrap it up.
Okay.
Then the next time we're going to try and do that 6-hour thing.
Yeah, see, we need another magician on that we can just... I actually do know a guy. He's on Skype. Not right now, but I do have him added on Skype. We'll see if we can set something up, if you don't mind. Because you're a stage magician, he's a street magician, so that could be interesting.
Yeah, basically, we'll both be saying how bad each other are.
Well, it'll be civil, okay?
Oh, okay.
You're both perfectly nice people, I'm sure, and can have a civil discussion about the art.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I'm not a magician, but now I've got essentially 3 videos about magic in the works.
Yeah.
Odd. Anyway, just as a note for people that haven't seen the show before and are watching it because Maxwell was on, once again, Maxwell, thank you for coming. Geeky Gentleman is obviously an in-depth, somewhat natural discussion about a topic or a review of a movie. For magic, we're tending to blend these things, so that's cool. Anyway, there's a segment that we're trying to do. We just had our first one that's going to go up with the nostalgia video coming out this week, or coming out soon. I'm not sure when I'm going to post this, so it might already be out. There's a segment we're trying to do and trying to get added. It's called Skype-ins. So the idea is this works kind of like a radio show, where you could call into the radio show and then the people will comment live on whatever you're saying. We're obviously not doing the show live, but the idea is you could call in by adding me on Skype, and I will record your voice discussing whatever topic we're going to do, and 1 to 2 minute recording of you putting in your 2 cents on this topic. Excuse me, got a little bit of hiccups. You can put in your 2 cents on a topic, and we will respond directly to you. For those of you that don't know exactly how Skype works or whatever, that's fine. Get a Skype account, add me, SidPart2. It's 100% free. I will work with you to get this done if you're really interested in doing it. We announce our topics at the end of every video, except for this one because it's a special episode. So you have basically a week to get a hold of me, and we'll, get it done. So if that's something you'd be interested in, please do it. It's a really fun segment that I really want to take off because viewership interaction is important to me. Sorry, that was a very long explanation, but felt merited. Anyway. Thanks, folks, for listening. Really great topic. I like magic, and I hope I didn't sound just completely ignorant and stupid the whole time.
Oh, don't worry. You did.
Oh, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyway, until next time, we're Geeky Gentlemen, and we will be discussing things.